Find this meeting to order. Please rise and name to the flag salute.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting, March 24, 2025, will include the list of meetings notice sent to the Hunter County Democrat and Courier News on January 6, 2025. Posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Quick roll call, please.
Councilman Arias.
Here.
Councilwoman Engelhardt. Here. Councilwoman Fasaro. Here. Councilman Levitt.
Here.
Council Vice President Long.
Here.
Council President Parker.
Here.
Mayor Carroll.
Here, do we have to change that statement now that the Democrat doesn't publish anymore?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, we're still figuring out what we're doing.
Okay. All right, we're in moving into executive session at this point. Can I have a motion to approve the executive session resolution for two topics? One of which may be carried, the second one of which may be carried to after the meeting. If we don't have enough time in this 1 hour, because we really have to go into public by law at 7 as advertised. Public safety, a 2-2 demonstration, and public safety for the police facility. Have a motion, please?
Sorry.
Is there a second?
Levitt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right now, in
Okay, wait.
executive session,
No, we're not.
we should be
Kind of shut the recording.
in open session. We're back in open session. There are no presentations. Right now, the only report I have that is in my brain right now, and I have not discussed this with Councilwoman Engelhardt, is to appoint a PBA negotiating team as our contract expires at the end of the year. And if she's okay with it, I'd like to appoint her to that as well as Councilman Parker.
I'd be honored. I really enjoyed doing the PQW the last year.
Okay, so and you're okay.
Okay.
Oh, all right, so if I have something else, I'll just circle back. Council members' reports. Councilwoman,
Thank you. Okay, my council report's been created and short. Excuse me, there's the park committee has scheduled their annual Earth Day cleanup for Saturday, April 26th at 10 a.m. I had mentioned earlier, I think January, briefly that the code enforcement officer had requested that we consider kind of giving our property maintenance code a little boost to give it some I know that's something that's been a complaint over the years, that, you know, we want to give him a little more ability to interpret our code, our property maintenance code. There is something called an IPM, the International Property Maintenance Code, and it is written really similar if you're familiar with the building code. It's written very similar to, in fact, it's the same organization that writes it. It would be a replacement of our current code. I would request that I reviewed it a couple months ago. There's a small part that references historic properties. I'd like to request that the Historic Preservation Commission do just a look through at it. To see if they had any concerns, as well as maybe Beth McManus, to see if there's anything that kind of catches her eye. Other than that, we should see that coming down the pipeline pretty soon. I'm sure somebody else is gonna mention this, but I just want to encourage everybody to sign up for the emergency alert system. And the animal control report, I'm getting lots of exciting ones. So, for the February reports, there's only been one, animal control incident, and that was actually a run-in with a domesticated skunk, which the mayor and I actually had to look up to see if That's actually legal, and it is, you may have a skunk as a pet.
But you have to have a permit from the city.
You do, so, that was very interesting, so I've got bats and I've got skunks and, you know, lots of exciting things on my agenda, and also finally, the parking committee will be meeting again on, March 31st, maybe. That's it.
How do you know if it's a domestic one or just a wild one, if it's in your backyard?
No.
No, this was a pet.
In the
It's in
house
the
they
house.
caught on fire, it was a house pet.
Oh, it was inside the house.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I'm
No,
just
no
saying,
kidding.
but I'm just saying, if
I think they
the
have it
skunk happened to
treated.
come through and they said, I lost my pet skunk. How do you know if it's a pet skunk or if it's a wild skunk? I mean, a skunk is a skunk.
Says he was climbing Mr.
It's
Williams, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't spray.
I did a little research and I mentioned this to a colleague of mine and they said, oh yeah, we had a pet skunk as kids and I was, oh, okay, it's just something I never, and I grew up in the woods, I never knew that was something that was, yeah,
Desirable.
but they're apparently really cute.
I need to go back to the city. Skunk, I'm done.
All done?
Yeah,
Thank you, Councilman Long.
Sure, last meeting I had to kind of cut my
So
report.
fill it
so,
in, no,
yeah,
you
we
don't,
got
there's no restriction.
quite a bit here. Police, traffic, as far as the month of February, the department investigated a total of 28 motor vehicle crashes. Out of these, 8 involved commercial vehicles. Unfortunately, 6 of these crashes did result in some injuries. Speed enforcement, the police department has continued its proactive response to speeding complaints across the town. Patrol officers have been conducting additional stationary radar posts and completing speed surveys on the streets. And this goes back a couple months, so for January, they've conducted 88 surveys, observing roughly 2,800 vehicles. Of those, 74 vehicles were stopped for speeding. Of the drivers stopped, 37 were issued summonses, so we are enforcing.
Do you know the streets by any chance?
I don't,
If you don't, it's
I
not, I
had
was
it.
just curious.
I don't have it off the top of my
Okay.
head, I have to look. Police construction works in the processing area is progressing, all drainage piping and trench work, have been completed and filled in. A new electrical panel has been successfully installed and the installation of additional electrical and security systems is now underway. Sewer line work and connections are also in progress, moving the project closer to completion. In the works, the department is excited to announce the expansion of their community engagement education program. This initiative aims to strengthen relationships between law enforcement and residents while enhancing neighborhood safety through education and cooperation. This year, new community engagement and education groups will be formed to provide residents with a platform to voice concerns, learn preventative safety measures, and build proactive relationships with local law enforcement. By working together, we can create a more secure and connected community. If you're interested in hosting a community engagement program on your street, we encourage you to reach out to the police department. Hosting a gathering is a great way to bring neighbors together, address community concerns, and receive valuable safety advice from experienced officers. For more information or to schedule a meeting, please contact Chief Jerry Rotella. And the message to the community, as usual, the department encourages the community to remain vigilant and proactive in maintaining safety. If you witness crime in progress, notice something suspicious, or see someone who may need police medical assistance, it's important to immediately call 911. Reporting these incidents while they are happening helps ensure timely response and enhance the safety of everyone in the area. Fire department, our new truck has been delivered and I plan on taking a look at it and getting a full report back to you guys. OEM March focuses on emergency water preparedness. Flemington OEM continues to emphasize the importance of emergency water preparedness for residents and businesses. We saw the importance of this earlier this year during the boil water advisory. We'd like to recommend that residents do the following: water storage. Households should maintain a minimum of 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days, accounting for drinking, cooking, and sanitation needs. Store water in a food grade container. Keep it in a cool, dark place and replace every 6 months. In case of emergency, water can be purified through boiling, unscented bleach, 8 drops per gallon, or water purification tablets. Alternative sources to think about in your home: in the event you run out of water, water heaters, pipes, and ice cube trays can provide emergency water if needed. The OEM encourages all residents to review their preparedness plans as we begin to enter the spring storm season. Rescue squad responded to 301 emergency calls during February, which is a 18% increase from 2024, with 55 calls, 64 of these calls were in Flemington Borough. This is a record number of calls for the month of February and reflects the upward trend of the responses of the squad. A multitude of training courses, conferences, rescue operations were attended and are completed throughout February. Squad members continuously keep up to date in all areas of safety. All this training, in addition to squad's handling of record number of calls for February, including 21 calls on Monday, February 24th alone. The squad's always looking for new members to assist them in protecting the community. You can go to www.frfars.org/join for more information. And finally, community engagement. Each weekend, I'm hosting some walks around town. If anybody wants to join me, we're looking at Sundays at 2 p.m., meeting at the monument until further notice. So just keep an eye on, I have Facebook and Instagram pages. I'm updating residents whenever these walks are taking place this month. Eventually I'll get to Stangle and maybe some other streets, but for now it's just up Main Street. So what's this about? These community walk and talks are about strengthening democracy and civic engagement in Flemington. This is about the power of getting involved at the most local levels, real community action. Also, I'm hoping in this spirit to get some opportunities built in for my peers on the governing body, maybe some face-to-face with residents, anyone curious for a conversation. And would really like to urge that we think about having some sort of town hall, some sort of meeting, given all that's going on in town. We have a lot of activity, a lot of stuff. So if we're all up here with our separate areas of expertise, it might be a good idea to be available for some feedback. And that's my report.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Can you just say something, Jeremy, on your civil engagement? Can you reach out to FCP and see when the next sip and stroll, because I kind of mentioned it.
Sure.
Thanks.
Is that it? I thought we were
What?
approving their dates.
I know, but I don't think we can contact them.
okay.
That's a good idea.
It's not until May anyway, but you have time, so can you just reach out to Rob?
I will.
Please, so we can get you set up.
Councilman Hines.
Yes, so just a couple of things, with the Fleming House, we're gonna have, April 5th, the Tricky Tray out there. It's gonna be from 3:30 to 8 p.m., so I'll be there probably around 2 o'clock and help them up. So let everybody know when. Also for the HCP, we're also gonna have, the house tours tickets on there for sale April 1st. So, yeah, get out there, get some tickets, and let's get some house tours going on. Also, just from my part of the Parks and Rec, I also am trying to start, something going on around here in town. I'm just trying to get I'm posting on Facebook, Instagram, on my personal, anybody that's friend with me on Facebook. Just trying to get some heads out there, people that are interested, any ages. Just do like a soccer tournament in Tuckerton Park, maybe do some events out there. Right now, I'm just posting, there's no set date, but we'd like to get some feedback and just see if anybody's interested, with maybe hopefully some vendors out there. But it's mostly just soccer and yeah, and if anybody that's interested, would like to come volunteer, help out. Or play soccer, let's do it. There's also other things we can do there, it doesn't have to be soccer, but that's mostly something I've always been interested in, and more expertise in, it's what I play a lot, so. Yeah, anybody wants to come out, that'd be awesome, and yeah, not really much to report, other than, I also. We're also gonna have an event for, we own the restaurant there, Mexico on Main Street, so, anybody that would like to come out on April 8th, I think it is, I forget, just gonna have food truck out there, anybody wants to come out, create events for anybody that wants to come out, have fun, good times, stuff like that. Friends, family, we have to try out some, food out of the food truck, we're also gonna do like aguas frescas, and just try and have some live music out there as well, so just for public to come out, have a good time and enjoy, and eventually we can get some vendors out there as well, where we can get it bigger eventually, but for now, just start something small and just move on from there too, so yeah, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Council President Parker.
Reach out to Robin and let her know what you're doing.
Okay.
So that they can help you with getting the word out.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so, speaking of, FCP, so there's several initiatives going on with FCP, so, one was that, and I had to back out at the last minute, but, Robin, the chief, and Mike Campion went around for parking signs because they're almost ready to go to do, to start going out, so
Like the brown key signs, showing them this.
it's not gonna be brown, it's gonna be
They're
blue. But anyway, they wanted to make sure where they should be placed, get the right right places and things like that, so they spent quite a bit of time going around the town to see where these parking signs were gonna go, as opposed to just arbitrarily putting up the parking signs where they were, because that may not be conducive anymore, so.
Placement.
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 It was the wayfinding.
Yeah, wayfinding.
Not the parking.
It's not the parking lot
No,
signs.
no, not the, yes,
We did the
wayfinding sign, I said parking, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I
yes,
thought,
yes,
that's the
yes.
brown signs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But they're gonna be blue.
and
Um,
wayfinding signs are blue.
They're gonna be blue.
I think everything's blue.
They're gonna be blue, I'm just telling you, they're gonna
Okay.
be blue. The other thing is that there was a push to elevate, and I think I've talked to you guys about this over and over again, elevate what FCP is doing. So what has happened, and you will get a presentations. Ally Norton has stepped down as president, temporarily as president of FCP and the board. And what we've asked her to do is come on as a consultant to help get some of these initiatives implemented, such as outreach to the businesses, getting business meetings going on, getting a database built, and some other things. But I've asked them to come and do a presentation, probably in next session, just so that you guys get an overview of what's going on. Great initiatives. I think it's gonna get us exactly where it needs to be. This has been one of my pushes, is to get business community all in, all involved, communicate, outreach, et cetera, especially as we have new businesses coming on. Speaking of new businesses coming on, the Red Vanilla, I don't know if you guys know, but the Red Vanilla building has been sold and it's gonna be a market, and they're starting working on that now. Of course, you all know about Pops. The restaurant that used to be Garden State is actually now, they're in there. It looks like it's gonna be opening in a very short period of time. It's gonna be a donut and bakery shop during the day, and then a full service restaurant at night. That's as much as I know for right now. There's also a kilt store that is opening, that is gonna be next to T-Berry's on Main Street. Kilt. Yeah, like a kilt, like a real kilt.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's a kilt store, yeah. Yeah.
Irish Hill, that's the Irish Hill.
Yeah, there's Royal Indian Market at the shops that just opened, yep, they just opened.
So did
And
the Mexican place.
yeah, so there's a Mexican place that opened where you guys used to
I was
be.
there yesterday.
Yeah,
Stuff.
And they actually have a place in Clinton, I believe, yes,
Chris
yes.
is.
So they opened, and the word on the street is that there is a business that is closing on Main Street. I'll just leave that alone for right now, but there is one that's closing, and we'll see what happens with that. The better news is that the Pentec building, which was going to be a retail, Pentec, yes, which was gonna be I think it was like a tobacco shop, is not gonna go through, so we're saved on that one. So as you can see, there's several things that are happening that is going on around town. I'm really happy. Robin has really done a good job at trying to get these places in. We still have a problem with people getting through the paperwork and the signs and things like that, the zoning, it is a problem, and every single person who's gone through it has complained. So we really have to tighten it up and take another look at that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing is that there is something called Linear Park, and I think you guys have heard about this. I'm not sure if you haven't. It's well, I can't say the rail trail because it's not the rail trail, it's really Linear Park, but it is the train that goes through, I think it starts at by Liberty Village. And it kind of goes through Taringos and a couple of other places, but anyway, the you guys are gonna get an invitation to go through and see the project itself. It will be along with some county representatives. I think they're gonna reach out to a couple of other like, political officials, and the board of FCP. So don't know when that's gonna be. We're trying to target sometime in April. This is a really good project, a really good project. And there has been like over $1 million in a grant for this individual to clean up the brush and get the garbage. And so he wants to take the council and the county reps around to see what he's done and talk a little bit more about what's coming down the road. I think it's a great initiative. The last thing I will talk about is we tabled the retail zoning recommendations back in December, I believe. And we've kind of been combing through them. I definitely have been combing through them. I've asked the each one of the board members to kind of the council members to kind of comb through it. There's some really good stuff in there. I just want to make sure that that's acknowledged. There's some really, really, really good stuff, and there's some things that we absolutely 101% want to support and go for. That said, there are some things that we have concerns about, and so what the council has decided to do is take the initiative to take it to the next level. So we are going to spearhead taking all of what's been put in and just adding our perspective to it and then send it back over. Get Beth involved, have her take a look at it. Give us suggestions a little bit, and then we'll send it over to the planning board. So just wanted to let everybody know, we haven't just put it to rest, that we are picking it up, and we just want to take it and put a different spin on it. So that's it for me.
So I'm gonna just ask publicly, how did the council discuss this, since it was never discussed in a public meeting?
So I went to each one of the council members and asked them to take a part of this and take a look at it. And then we had 2 of the council members go through it in detail to work on it. So
Okay,
that's how it happened.
Who were the 2 council members who worked on it in detail?
So it would be Trent
Okay.
and Susan and
So-
myself.
Okay, so 3 of you guys worked on it.
Yeah.
so,
And there were no.
It was not a
meetings.
worked on it, it was just, these are the things that we would like to change, that's kind of what so, you know, I don't wanna get in a pissing contest about this, but the point of it is that there are some changes, we were about to get sued, that's the reality, we were going to get sued. That we had to stop, so
Okay.
that's why we made these
Kudos.
changes.
so I just wanna say this then, and then I'm gonna move on to council reports, is that the chairman of the planning board did reach out to you several months ago, council president.
No,
and
she
asked-
reached out to me in January,
Okay.
I mean,
several-
excuse me, in
several months.
February, I'm sorry, not in January, in
That's okay.
February.
It's 8 weeks ago, and.
Okay.
And
And I
requested-
said to
Can
her,
I finish, please?
yep, go ahead.
Thank you. And asked for a meeting with you to discuss where you wanted this to go, and you denied her a meeting. And I just want to remind the council, never stop. And I'm not gonna entertain the bickering or the whatever, or the talking or whatever.
Well, I'm gonna say what I have to say, but go ahead.
I'm just gonna, then I might say something again.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna remind the council that in 2023, in the summer. I brought forward from the governing body an ordinance to repeal a ordinance that the former mayor had put forward at the governing body. Regarding a housing overlay in the HR zone. And I was very much spoiled by a member of this body who was serving as the liaison onto the planning board, that all zoning must or should come from the planning board. And in fact, one of the members of the planning board was out in the public comment period, also agreeing that it needed to come, and that person was so passionate up here that the ordinance was voted down until it came from the planning board. And then the planning board submitted it, and then the council voted for it. So I'm just gonna ask rhetorically, what has changed?
So I'm not gonna get into that when you said that she reached out, what I said to her, I gave her this, is that the council wants to take the lead on it and we will get back to her. So that's what I said. So if you're gonna tell the story, tell the entire story. That's what I said to her, and I can show you the email. The bottom line is, I don't care about any of that. The bottom line is, we were about to get sued. And I was not going to let that happen. Period. So the bottom line was to pick this up, take another look at it, and then send it back to the planning board to get their feedback and the whole bit and go from there. So it's not like they're being excluded. The bottom line is, we're taking what they have because there's some good stuff in there and we're just embellishing on it, period.
Well, any chair of any of our boards that wants a meeting for me, I don't care whether I agree with them or not, they're welcome to ask me for a meeting and I will give them a meeting.
Well, that's you,
So-
Marcia. That's you, that's not me. My name is Tony, your name is Marcia.
Right, but.
Okay, that's
We
me.
have one responsibility, I mean, like, we have a,
I
not one
have many
responsibility. One
responsibilities.
of our
Don't
big
tell me my
responsibilities
responsibilities.
is meeting with people when they need a meeting.
When we are ready.
Well,
When we
again,
are ready.
I'm asking.
When we are ready, period.
Excuse me,
No, excuse you.
I'm speaking, excuse me. When, again, I'm asking rhetorically.
I don't want to be lectured,
What,
Marcia.
I am not lecturing,
You are,
it's a
you are.
rhetorical question.
You are lecturing and
as
I'm
to
not
what
gonna listen to it.
Changed, don't listen to it then, what changed since 2023 when, I was schooled in public that zoning changes had to come from the planning board, and that ordinance was voted down 4-2 until it was introduced by the planning board. That's all I'm gonna say.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This is what we're
Councilman
gonna do, period.
Councilman Lovett? You have a report?
Council report, sure. The people of Flemington Riverton School District voted no on the proposed 6% budget increase. Next environmental commission meeting is Monday, April 7th, and we will be examining ordinances about feeding wild animals. The next Shade Tree Commission meeting is on Wednesday, April 9th. We are still working on the tree maintenance ordinances and the VP's tree cutting ordinance that was mandated, I think, last year. Still working on that, and.
Have you heard from Beth McMahon from that at all? She's been swamped in COA stuff.
She's very
Okay.
busy.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be done eventually. I don't think the DP is going around,
No.
you know.
But her
Don't work
issue
that,
was
but-
really not the ordinance itself, it was codifying it with all of the tree cutting
Mhm.
things throughout our administrative code. The trees are everywhere in our administrative code, they come under different topics.
The state of New Jersey?
No, ours,
Ours.
ours. There's tree cutting things in
There are in
redevelopment
a
projects
couple
and
of disparate.
buildings,
places,
they're everywhere. So she was gonna try to get a handle on that, but then the whole COA thing came out and she has some municipalities. So,
Not everybody can be as easy as us with the current obligations, you know?
you
it's-
know, it's very true.
Either
I'm
way.
sorry to interrupt.
It's- that's fine, that's fine. Lastly, our spring 2025 edition of the Borough Newsletter is available online now with physical copies being shipped out. I just got an email update on that, and they will be placed in various places around town. And while you are right here, if you could send out an email or alert to the people that have signed up for the newsletter option. I forgot to send you an email about it, so if you could update that. that'd
Do
be
you wanna
great.
send it to me as a PDF or do you wanna do a link?
How does it go out exactly? What's it go out as? Like a
So it goes
text?
out as an email, but I can
Okay.
either attach a link to it or I can physically attach the document.
I'll send, you know what, I'll send you the link because it keeps track of how many times that link is clicked, so.
Is that on the new system?
The new system, is up and running with 580 people right now.
Oh,
And they can
Wow.
sign up for the newsletter.
Yep,
That's
they have
wonderful.
emergency alerts and then they have 4 separate options that they can sign up for.
are those residents and businesses that are signing up on your
It's
side? or is it
various,
both?
we can go through it, but I can.
No,
show
no,
you.
I'm just asking.
But I can show you, like, I have the map up, it shows me each resident that is
Oh, that's
registered
wonderful.
and where, and
Nice.
we really captured it nicely.
Can we just put something on the borough website that just kind of points to what he's doing?
It's on
all
Yeah.
there.
It's on
It's
there.
all there, it's all
Okay,
there.
I didn't see it, but that's just me, okay.
Yeah, it's there, and Robin shot it out to all our
Yeah, she
FCP
did tell me that.
businesses, so
Yeah.
it's
And I put it on the Facebook.
yeah, we're just gonna keep pushing through and the old system will be up
How
to
many
the
do
end.
we have signed up on the old system?
Well, the old system had 2,000.
As of like when this thing came in, not,
2,700,
so we have 1,500 people who have not migrated over.
correct, but we don't know what the quality of those numbers were, remember, we had
That's
failure
what-
rate
that's
of
what I meant.
1,000. So we don't know what the quality rate of those are,
Okay.
so we could be halfway there, we could be a quarter way there.
Okay.
And I just wanted to thank, Trent and the mayor and you too for all this work. I mean, these things kind of coming together at the same time. It's spiffy looking, looks good.
It's 50. I wanted to say that it was a pleasure doing the newsletter with Councilman Levitt, and I want to thank Krista Cook for the hard work she did to make it look spiffy. And we had so much content, we had to cut 4 pages, including some special interest stories.
Good news is we have a 4-page head start.
We do.
That's how you have to do it, by the way. That's exactly how you have to do it.
My article, can I give you my article? He's like, we don't have any room.
Yeah, we had to cut out like a lot and make some hard decisions, and I keep meaning to send an apology letter out to the people who did not get in.
will
Let
say-
them know, I mean.
Kristen was able to fit so much in there, so much more than I thought she was gonna be able to, so, yeah.
And it looks great.
Thank you,
So,
Kristen.
That's it.
Are you finished?
That, I'm done.
Well, I want to
Nothing
say
else
thank you
say.
to you, Trent, because it was, like I said, it was a joy
Same here.
working with
Thank
you. And I'm sorry, I skipped the councilwoman, sorry, because you're short and I didn't see you, sorry. Council President. So.
I can move back to the seat.
Just 2 issues. Oh, actually, you're the short one.
I'm sure you know, yes, I know, but I can say them.
Okay, Councilwoman Engelhardt pointed out the parking committee continues to meet. Next meeting is March 31st. The library air quality test has passed clean. It has now been open since March 18th. And our planning board secretary position is open still. So if
It wasn't, but now it is
it is,
again.
it is, we did meet with a great candidate last week.
Who accepted the position.
Accepted the position and then today, so it is now back open. And then just a comment regarding International Property Maintenance Code, as Councilwoman Engelhardt was, I think you were the one who mentioned it, would need to have Beth McManus take a look at it, correct?
I just think she might have some insight. I don't know for sure.
And then for the zoning piece, we would want to make sure that that is coded back to the council and not the planning board. If they're doing, you're doing work for the council, if she's gonna do work for the council, it's not coming from the zoning committee. And it needs to get coded back.
There is no zoning committee, there is an ordinance committee.
An ordinance committee.
Because I think what happened in last year's budget, Beth did all this work on the Union Hotel, like looking at the outside, looking at the inside, doing the
Yeah.
parking. And all of that got charged, thousands of dollars got charged to the planning board when it actually should have been charged. Planning board doesn't have an escrow account for the Union Hotel anymore,
Yeah.
because they're done there. So it got charged there and instead of to the council where we have an escrow account to pay for bills. And I think that's, it needs to get, because Beth is the only professional who actually is hired by the planning board and the council. All the other planning board professionals are only hired by the planning board, and all of our other professionals are only hired by the council, so. There's a code
So as
issue
we're looking
watching
at
her
the
work.
So as we're looking
Like
at.
Spring Street, the Spring Street work she did,
Yeah.
What about Jay? Is he?
Jay is
through for
only at the
parking
planning
committee?
board,
Oh,
only
planning board.
at the planning board,
The parking
everything he does.
committee, even the parking committee
Because
work.
we never
is-
hired him, the
Yeah, I
council never
remember
put
that.
out for bid for a traffic consultant, Bill missed that one.
Yes,
So we
I
went
remember
through the
that.
planning board's contract.
Yes. I
And
remember
used
that.
him through the used him through the planning
So
board,
officially, he's
He's
only
doing-
planning board,
but
yeah.
he's doing work for the council.
Yeah, through the parking committee.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Exactly.
that.
But she works for both.
She's the
So-
only one who's got 2 contracts.
So we need to make certain that as I'm looking at the planning board budget and looking at the amount spent, is that if there is work that is generated from this council, it should not be getting put into the planning budget.
Yes.
No, but it wouldn't be.
I think we're saying though, looking at some of the work that was done.
It's just
No, but
that's bills just need to be
Yeah,
Yeah,
looked at a little bit more closely than other bills because
yeah,
and we have to make sure it's getting coded to the right
Right.
place.
but that kind of goes.
and hopefully with the new secretary, we'll be able to get our bills a little bit sooner and scrutinize them.
That would be really good.
The planning board, yeah.
That would be good.
So
That'd be
I
helpful.
just want to make sure I heard you. So you had a candidate and the candidate accepted and then declined?
Yes.
Okay.
A little
She re-
overwhelming for her.
Yeah, she rethought.
Okay,
Yeah.
and did you have, it's like, are there other people
It was
that
never
we're
advertised
talking
for.
about?
It was never advertised for because
Okay.
she came in recommended by the planning board attorney, somebody she had worked with in other municipalities.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think I missed, was the position the alternate or was it a planning board?
no, this is the secretary.
The secretary.
Oh, the secretary.
The secretary.
Eileen left.
Yeah.
Eileen Parks resigned.
Yeah, so the planning board attorney, so the planning board chair wrote an ad up. She was circulating the ad and ready to give it to Bill Hans to place when the planning board attorney came up with a recommendation of somebody who would possibly be interested and be good. So they brought her in to interview and you, I
She
think
was stellar.
you and you
Really was.
councilwoman and planning board chair
Yeah.
interviewed, because there was, nobody else could make that interview, it was the only night she could come. And she accepted the position, and then today, she sent an email to the planning board chair that the more she thought about it, the more overwhelming, she's got a full-time job, she didn't think she could add this to her load, and she really appreciated the opportunity and whatever, so.
I just wanna kind of clarify because Jeremy was surprised. We didn't actually, nobody announced it at the last meeting. I didn't find out.
I didn't find out until the next
Until the next night, yeah. I didn't find out until
Actually,
last Friday and that was.
It wasn't
was a
even,
pretty
it
great
wasn't
sign.
the next night, because she did not let anybody know that night, she didn't, she sent it out the next day to Karen Giffen and let her know, so we didn't even know Tuesday night
Yeah.
after the planning board meeting. So
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah, I didn't know till last Friday.
yeah, yeah, we haven't had a meeting since for
Right,
anybody to talk
right.
about it,
So there's a few people here might not have known, that's
yeah,
why
so I
was
guess Karen will send her ad over to Bill ASAP and get it in the league for a planning board secretary. And, you know, anybody in the audience, it's a really easy certification to get, it's like an online class for like 4 hours, so. If you're looking for a part-time job. Anything else? I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
No, that's it.
Okay, all right, we have public comment session number 1. Anybody willing to make any comments to the council? You have 3 minutes, please. You need to come to the mic, state your name and address for the record. And there you go. Any hands up, Carla?
No.
Okay, seeing none, can I, I'm sorry, I lost my page. We have approval of minutes, the regular meeting minutes of March 10th, 2025. Can I have a motion to approve?
On the move.
Is there a second?
Sorrow second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda, resolution 2025-53, resolution approving the 2025 dates, typo, for the sip and stroll through the Flemington Community Partnership. Can I have a motion, please? Is there a second?
Michael Hartwell second.
On, roll call, please.
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Long,
Yes.
and Council President Parker.
Yes.
So, thank you. So I know that we're gonna be tabling introduction of the budget tonight. That does not mean we have to table some of this other stuff, and I'm gonna leave it to the council whether you want to. So we've got the cap bank ordinance, which allows us to exceed the cap bank. We do this at every municipality in the state of New Jersey does this every year. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to introduce.
This is for the,
This is to exceed the,
We did this
Cap.
last.
yeah,
you do it every year.
Engelhardt will move.
Long will second.
Okay, normally we wouldn't have discussion in an introduction, but any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Long,
Yes.
and Council President Parker.
Yes.
Okay, this will have a public hearing on April 14th, right?
Yeah.
Only the budget has to sit for 30 days, this does not.
Right.
Okay, so April 14th, public hearing here. Ordinance 2025-11, in ordinance amending Chapter 7, traffic and 7A, traffic schedules authorizing angled parking spaces along the western portion of Spring Street between Bloomfield Avenue and Chorister Place, and to prohibit parking along the eastern portion of the same span of the right of way. This is work that came out of the parking committee. It'll allow more parking on Spring, and a little safer wider road. So can I have a motion to introduce?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Fasaro, second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This, Carl, they got the updated version.
Yes, she got it out to everybody.
Sure.
She got it. Yep, wonderful.
Which
Thank
is a
you, Kyle.
great job.
11.
Double check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Roll call.
Councilman Arias?
and this also will allow
Yes.
It's check.
the redeveloper is very much in favor of this, and he's doing the engineering work on it. And he, is trying to get that road and the one building open as soon as possible, so he's anxious, my understanding from Beth is to get this, so. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Already did Brandon. Councilwoman Fasara? Yes.
I
Councilman
barely.
Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
And Council President Parker?
Yes.
Okay, public hearing ordinance 2025-08, an ordinance amending section 2012 fees of chapter 20 taxi cab to remove obsolete references. Can I have a motion to open up the public hearing to the public?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to speak on ordinance 2025-8, please come to the microphone and state your name and address to the record, or raise your hand if you're online. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-08?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Arias?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
And Council President Parker?
Yes.
Thank you. Items 14, the regular agenda, resolution 2025-54, authorizing the borough engineer to create and update the GIS stormwater system mapping for NJDEP MS4 compliance. This is state regulation for an amount not to exceed $25,344 to be funded by grants obtained by the borough. Can I have a motion?
Fasaro,
I'll
move.
move. Sorry.
One of them seconded.
Whichever. I'm
Okay.
excited about this.
That and skunk pets.
Yeah, apparently.
Councilman Arias?
Wait, I want to see if there's any discussion. Hang on. Any discussion?
Somebody just explain what exactly this is doing, what it's doing. I mean, so I'm sorry, I'm just curious, what exactly we're mapping.
So the
You don't know, they don't know.
So first of all, the DEP requires this MS4 to be filed every year.
Yes.
Which, okay, so you know that, right?
Yeah.
So under their new stormwater rules that have been promulgated through the EPA down to all the states. We now have to do all this new mapping. This is a requirement under state regulation. And Remington Vernick, was able to get us a small grant to cover this work.
Potentially free anyway.
Well,
No,
no,
because it's
it's
25,000, and so the point of it is they're not gonna get all 25.
I thought it was
Partially
like
for
13 or
but
it is-
something.
The point of it is we have to
But
do
we
it.
have to do it.
Right.
We have someone must do it.
But then perhaps Susan, Councilwoman Engelhardt would like to explain why she's so excited about this.
I just like, GIS.
Okay.
That's great, and
Okay.
to be able to see it is really important, it's great technology.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please call.
Councilman Arias?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yeah, yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
And Council President Parker?
Yeah.
Alright.
All right, we're up to resolution 2025-55, resolution approving the local budget exam for the borough of Flemington.
That we could do.
Yeah, we can do that one too. It's got nothing to do with the budget. This has to be done also by law. Can I have a motion to introduce?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Level second.
Any discussion or any questions for Bill, who just walked into the room? On what the local budget exam is, Bill? Anybody have any questions on what the local exam is? Budget exam.
He's like the kid in the back of the room.
I know, he doesn't want to be up front. All right, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Arias?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Long?
Yes.
And Council President Parker?
Yes.
Councilman Parker indicated that the council wanted to table the amended temporary budget. Is that the consensus, is to table the temporary budget?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, that's tabled to the next meeting. Resolution 2025-57, certifying compliance with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arresting conviction records and employment decisions under Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Basically, it's saying that we don't hire illegally in the borough. Is there a motion to introduce for this? Is there a motion?
So remove.
Is there a second?
Long second.
Any,
Any other questions?
any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Arias,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yeah.
Council Vice President Wong.
Yes.
And Council President Parker.
Yes.
Did the signature page get that way?
I just signed it.
I started counting.
Everybody got to sign that, saying they read the.
Okay, resolution 2025 dash 58, resolution of the Borough of Flemington, County of Hunterdon, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of surplus property no longer needed for public use on our outline, oh my goodness, use on an outline auction website.
Is that the fire truck?
That's the old fire.
It is the ladder truck.
Okay.
Can I have a motion?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Marco second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Arias. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wong,
Yes.
and Council President Parker.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have a double header for the work session, the budget with the CFO. Again, I believe we're tabling the introduction of the 2025 budget. We are gonna have to set a date for the introduction prior to April 14th, which statutorily the borough has to introduce by. So we need a special night for a meeting to introduce, and we're gonna have to have a special meeting for a work session after tonight's discussion prior to the introduction. So I will be asking everybody to look at calendars.
Well, I won't be here from the 7th through the 10th. I could just tell you that right now.
So we have to do it next week.
So wait, so well, no, we can do a back to back.
I mean, somebody else will take my place. I don't have to be here.
So. So. Budget forms are due to Bill by March 31st. So Bill is gonna have budget forms presumably from departments that never submitted their budget forms. So he will work after March 31st to try to put together a new budget. And then sit down with, in this room, in public, and here do a work session on what everybody can settle on, right? Is that my understanding? So we could do that before the 7th, hopefully, and then do the introduction after the 10th. It has to be done before the 14th.
So it's up to Bill, how
Well,
soon
you
can
only
you
have
get
the
it done?
11th.
Bill, how many departments did not provide? I know I reached out to you, the library absolutely did. Was this like, most of them didn't, or
Some of the
It was mostly the volunteer,
boards and commissions.
shade tree, environmental, things like that.
oh, okay.
Planning board, but the big departments all submitted stuff, so it's only a few of the smaller ones. So I mean, I would think a day for me to just review it.
Okay.
So we're looking at the week, so if you got everything the 31st. You think like by the 2nd of April, you'd be able to put something together? For the council to review
Yes.
in a work session and walk them through the changes and let them move things around as they see fit?
I thought you said the fire department and police department didn't submit. And OEM.
No, they submitted, but not in that form that I gave them, but it's in their, it's broken out, but like in paragraph form.
Okay, so the forms are
I did ask
gonna,
them for the actual forms to fill out.
Yeah.
It needs to be the actual.
okay,
So
You wanna sit up here instead of talking from back there?
so let's just assume everybody gets theirs in by the 31st. So how long is it gonna take you to get the numbers back to us to take a look at?
you can do it within a day.
Okay, so then we can conceivably meet the week of the 1st.
Yeah.
So we can either make like the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th.
Not
Correct.
the fourth.
Okay,
Not 4 for you, oh, that's a Friday.
okay,
That's
the
the
2nd
3rd.
or the 3rd.
So all 3 nights are good for me.
Are
Carla's
we
fine.
earlier than 7? Or do you have a problem with that?
The only day I have a wedding that I'm performing at 3 o'clock on the 3rd. So I would be free probably by 4 if they're all on time, but
I can do it anytime, I'll do it 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll do it 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't care.
I'm out from the third, the whole evening.
Okay, so it's on the second.
What about
But
the
it
second?
could, it would have to be after 7 on the third.
What about the
what
second?
about the
The
second?
second is free. Fine.
Is everybody good on the second? Are you good on the second?
Second is good as
5 p.m.
now,
Okay.
third would be not good.
Which would not be good for
The
you?
Can
third,
you do 5?
but the second.
Bill, is
Jerry
the
and I
second
will-
good for you?
Yes.
Carly, is the
I'm
second
in
good for
Bridgewater,
you?
so.
Wait, one person at a time.
You can't do the second.
So you won't be home by 5?
Cause I'm taking on like, it's gonna be all day.
What about 5:30 or it's like going
We
up
could
like,
do
8 to
7.
like 4 or something like that.
could you do like 5:30?
After that, yeah.
Oh, okay, so can we do a 5:30? It's a work session, so the public can see sausage meeting. Okay, so we're gonna go with special meeting, budget work session, at 5:30 p.m. Used to be so easy with paper calendars and square. Still use my phone. Yeah, I usually back up but. Okay, so that's that one, and then, looking for an introduction. How is the 10th of April? It's a Thursday.
Good, good for me.
Anybody you know?
So you on a plane in the morning or in the plane in the evening, Sue?
No, I'm not on a plane, I'm on a train to Boston. Oh, wait, nope, sorry, that's. Don't know if we're leaving Thursday or Friday morning, I really don't know. I think we're
Can you-
leaving Thursday afternoon. I think we're leaving Thursday afternoon. Yeah, Thursday afternoon on the 10th is when we're leaving, after school, like 2 o'clock. We can't do it, well, you're not back yet.
I'm back late Thursday.
What about Friday the 11th?
I mean,
I'm here all day Friday.
Could zoom in.
I can,
Can you
yeah, I
zoom
can
in on-
vote in.
Zoom.
Oh, you can?
Zoom.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as it's
Oh, I thought-
available,
I
I
thought
can
that was
vote
an
in.
Okay, so Thursday, the 10th. What time would work for you, let you be settled in on your train?
I don't know, I really don't know what time the train, what time.
Well, I'll be
just
coming
go
back
start-
from Atlantic City, probably 1 or 2, so I won't be here until 4 or 5.
On
The
Thursday?
Thursday?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can get service on the train. So I could zoom in, but I don't
Are
necessarily
you
like
taking
that
Amtrak?
being public, yeah,
I wouldn't trust that.
yeah, I agree.
Believe me, I've done Amtrak too many times. It'll be spotty.
Unless do you have your own,
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
you have
be
your own
fun.
thing?
Does anybody have the? I don't know what the right word is. Willingness to do Friday at like 4, the 11th, at 4 o'clock, because if it's an introduction. It should only be a very brief meeting,
I can do that.
4 o'clock, when the councilman is out of school, and is teaching for the
11
day.
o'clock is good for me.
No, 4 o'clock,
Oh, 4 o'clock.
because we gotta get the councilman out of
Friday.
school.
So it will be Friday.
Does that work? Chris, does that work for you? 4 o'clock on Friday, the 11th?
I can zoom in.
You can zoom in. What do you got, you CFO hands?
Sure.
Works for you, Carla works for you, 4 o'clock to be back? Everybody
Yeah, I'll be
else is good?
Friday.
You're not sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so budget introduction will be scheduled for. A special meeting for Friday, the 11th. At 4 p.m. And that gives some time in between the work session for Bill to get everything in order. 4 p.m. Yeah, and it won't last long.
I'm sorry about that, I don't have the exact time,
That's okay.
didn't really-
Move on.
I didn't know I
You can do remote,
We're
fine.
good, we're good.
All right, so.
Thank
would
you
we
for
then
being
adopt our regular
flexible.
meeting on the 12th, the Monday the 12th,
About what?
the budget, the 12th of May.
Yeah,
Oh, May.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, that's a little too
you
early.
got your 30 days.
Correct, I
Yeah,
don't
because I
wanna
get
have a
this
special
right
meeting to adopt.
under the Collar to do, not do a special meeting to adopt the ordinance.
May
We have to do
12th
the
is
public
it?
hearing for it.
Yeah, right, so we're introducing April 11th, adopt May 12th.
Yeah, we'll be able to, we will be able to do that
Are we doing the second by Zoom or are we doing it in person?
in person. I mean, anybody can zoom in, you know, but it would be here. So, all right,
I missed that whole thing, what about the 12th? I'm sorry.
May 12th.
that would be the adoption of the public
Okay,
hearing for
okay.
the budget and the adoption of the budget.
Okay,
So that gives us the 30 days between the two meetings.
Alright.
By law. Okay.
yeah, okay, I'm flying home on the 11th, okay, that's okay.
Okay, we should be all right. All right, so we've got our CFO here to talk about the budget. This could open up to the council. Or do you just all want to wait until the work, these forms come in?
If I had adjustments, is now the time to bust them out there, or is that something we just, I can talk to Bill about?
You can talk about it with Bill privately, if you want to. I do want to just bring forward one big ticket item that has come our way, and I mean all of us our way. From the fire department. There is a truck available in this county. It is a used but not that old engine. We have an engine that is over 20 years old, still in service. This one is significantly newer. A new engine runs a little over $1 million now. And the borough, I should say the borough, the asking price from the municipality selling this, they set the price at $400,000. It probably has 15 years of life left in it. Our fire marshal has approached both the council president and CFO Hans, as well as me, and the fire chief also approached me about this. This potential purchase of this new used engine, rather than buying a new $1 million+ engine. Bill did come up with a method to finance it, because we do have the ladder truck now going out for sale. And the 20+-year-old engine would also go out for sale. So
2 for 1 kind of thing.
basically, so do you, Bill, you wanna just talk to them about how you speculate how to fund this potential $400,000? Of course, you know, nobody's talked to this company. You know, sometimes asking prices are just asking prices, so.
And I will just say, I'll add to that, because the fire chief is getting, I asked him to get the differentials and the numbers and everything. To work with, you know, to see if the numbers turned out, and what we could get for what we're selling, or.
So he's trying to get some real numbers,
Yes,
because the fire marshal gave us some very speculative numbers.
yeah, and I asked him to do that.
Great.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that should be early next week, but I could ask him to push that up,
Yeah,
whatever
so
you need.
before I auction off this fire truck,
Yeah.
it's almost like an eBay auction where I set a reserve price, so that I would wanna know whether it's,
Okay.
you know,
Okay,
10,000, 100,000, you know, I need to know that number. Which would be like the minimum we would sell it for.
Bill, can you talk in the mic, please? Thank you.
But other than that, the money that we put in the capital improvement fund every year. That's what, and you'll see in this year's budget, we have, I think it's 300,000. Appropriated for the capital improvement funds. What I would recommend is, so we don't have to issue any debt. We would use that capital improvement fund money to do a fully funded ordinance to buy this, right? And you could do that right away. And then once we get the money in from the sale of the vehicles, in the next year's budget, we replenish that capital improvement fund with that money. So if it's 200,000, you know, then you basically got, you know, paid 200,000 or so for the truck. Net of that, you know, of what you got from the sale. So that would be the quickest way, and you know, wouldn't affect your debt or anything like that. And also with, if you did it as a bond ordinance, you have to wait the 30 days after you advertise the adoption of the ordinance. This you can immediately spend that same night. Once we adopt the ordinance, you could approve the purchase that same night.
I guess my question would be, are we, then we're kind of going through the rest of the year with a much lower capital improvements fund.
Correct,
What if there's
that's-
an emergent, like, you know, like, but that's not for emergency, is it?
Well, it could be for.
It could be, yeah,
Yeah, it
I'm
could
just
be.
a little concerned that we're spending all that, you know, we're kind of spinning the wheel for the rest of the
So
year.
it's the yin and the yang, right? So the bottom
Yeah.
line is if we had to go out and purchase another truck, we're talking about over $1 million, right? And here we are, and we have an opportunity to do a $1 million truck, so to speak, for, you know, around 400,000, let's, I mean, it may come in, it could come in lower, it could, but let's just use 400. But the bottom line is when you sell off everything else, and then you have this, then this is a really good option. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go back and try to figure out how we're gonna fund it and do all this stuff. So this is just a very clean, easy way to get this through and get what we need and have two trucks that are updated and we can actually respond to a fire with no problems.
And you.
Yeah, that part I don't disagree with at all, I
You're
think
just
it's a
worried
great
about
idea, I'm
not
just
having
worried
enough
about,
money.
okay, how much is our
Well, we
What
have
kind
enough
of
money to
floating
do it, like
in there?
the 5% that's required for a down payment when we moved to the next section of Main Street. You know, and we have to, even though hopefully that sewer water will also be 100% reimbursed to us by the state or forgiven, as this current one is, we still have to do the road itself. And we still have to fund the sewer water, will we have enough left in the capital fund to do that project?
So we currently have 333,000 in there. We're gonna add another 300,000 this year, which will bring it to 600,000.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna spend
Okay,
400, you still have 200,000
Yeah.
in there. or
so there's.
So we're back to where
Which
we
would
are
allow you
right
to
now.
bond like $4 million.
I just wanna make sure we have a little
Yes.
fluff in there,
And-
you know,
and-
for something that we don't plan on.
Yeah, and I just want to turn to Councilman Long.
Yeah.
So the way it was explained to me by the fire chief is that these 3 engines they have, they use them for different functions and rotate them, and this particular engine we currently still have is so old that this is the one they keep right here in town, they never take it too far because they can't trust it,
And it needs a lot of money repairs.
and it needs a lot of money in repairs.
Right, but there's another one, my understanding from him is when we were talking to him, is that there's 2, right? And you have to keep starting them all the time, and when the fire happened. Here in town, that because they weren't rotating like they should, there were things that broke during the fire, they got it back together so they could do whatever. But it wasn't fully functional, so.
And this
So we can't just keep going back and forth and back and forth.
This opportunity has exactly what the fire department needs.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's a pump. It's a
Fine
pump,
shape,
yeah.
it's a pumper,
Yeah.
truck and it's a little higher with the chassis, so, you know, with flooding, that's a selling point for them. In my conversation, so it's a really good opportunity.
And Ken said today that they're getting all the tools with it on the
Oh, yeah,
truck, so
the
that's
tools
another
come.
100,000 that is added.
So is there a consensus from the council to proceed with moving this potential purchase forward?
I would be.
Yeah.
Anybody have any concerns about it?
I, just have them go take a good hard look at this fire truck, if it's such a fantastic.
So
You know?
the fire company is closing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why
it was-
it's available.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
it's a
like
relatively
a,
new truck.
No, I
like
recall,
a show dog whose parents are going into an apartment that doesn't take dogs.
So the
You know?
fire company itself is closing,
Yes.
and that's why the truck is now
Yes.
available.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is it because,
It's got nothing, they don't need anymore.
oh, they are merging.
They're merging, it's why,
With
yeah, the
Delaware.
fire company's merging, and so they have equipment available, so,
So we have a nice shiny
Hopefully.
brand new thing if we were to ever merge.
if our
with
reporter
Township.
doesn't blow it for
and
us, and
save
all these
money.
other companies wanna get this truck. You'll wait till we conclude buying the truck before you print any of this, right?
I know what fire department.
I know you do, I just don't want it out there.
Yeah.
No, it's
We're not ready for
But
that.
I
right
love the
now.
idea of merging services, so, but that was
Well-
never.
Well, they can't get volunteers. that's why.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
You wouldn't
So,
wanna merge with that one's too far away.
yeah, but anyway, so that's why Councilman Lovett, they're putting up this really good
I
young
love a
spot.
good deal.
It is a good deal.
Love a good deal.
All right, so we have a consensus to keep moving forward, Councilman Wong, you'll continue pushing to get information as fast as possible for
Absolutely, I'll get you.
our CFO.
Yep.
And then we'll put this into the budget, it sounds like.
So if, I don't know how quickly you wanna move on it, but if like the meeting, once we decide what the budget's gonna be, when I do the amending the temporary budget, at that point, that same night, I could do a ordinance to introduce.
So what I asked, I don't know if you talked to him, but I actually talked to, when I talked to Ken, I said, can you find out what the urgency is for looking this over, right? So if it's an urgent thing and they've got other people knocking on the door, then yes, we wanna jump on this as soon as possible, but if not, I mean, we may have a little bit of wiggle room in terms of, it may not need to be like right now, it could be like the next one, not this one, that coming up with the next one. So it's sometime in April, let's just say. So Rob's gonna find out, right? Yeah, okay.
Anything else that you wanna bring to Bill's attention, or do we just, like I said, we can just wait till the next person?
I think. Unless you guys have something, but I think Jeremy has some things that he needs to talk to Bill about.
Well, the only other thing I had, the fire truck wasn't the one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine, no, it's fine. Cause that's why I asked, should I just talk about it? So the other thing, I have no problem sharing publicly is, for the police budget, would it be possible to build in one promotion of a corporal? Just because within the department, we had been moving in that direction, and this would be like one of those other things to do, to kind of just build in incentivizing positions in the department, opening that corporal spot for some people who have been there for a while.
We discussed this last year when we did all those promotions, which increased our budget by $100,000. Jerry said he didn't need any more, and we were all like, this is all you're getting. So his budget has gone up, the police budget in this borough has gone up $100,000 every year for the last 3 years. First year because of the contract settlement, the second year because of all the promotions, and last year because of the new hire. So, and he was adamant, he needed,
Although this could work in our favor as we're going through negotiations. I mean,
well,
you gotta look at it both ways. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, I'm just saying, you gotta look at it both ways, this could work in our favor too.
but if our police chief has said he didn't need it, why would we create an
See,
organization?
he said that to you, he never said that to me.
He constantly says to me that he doesn't need any more promotions.
Well, I mean,
where he needs to
obviously-
be.
I was
Obviously,
working, I was working from a point of like a compromise, because the initial ask was for 2 sergeants, and then I said, okay, so what can we work with here? And that was, I thought, workable. You know, and I wasn't sure if that was too much.
But
to
again,
ask,
I mean, we're going into contract negotiations with the police department, and maybe that would be more appropriate for next year, or see where we are with the contract. You know, I mean, they got a very rich contract in 2022. And they got a lot of stuff that cost this borough a lot of money. And if they're gonna get another promotion, I mean, there's, you know, you don't. There should be gift backs if you're gonna give something, so I just think it's like giving away something before we even go into contract negotiations.
Maybe this is something we need to talk about during that work, that next person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, because I think I don't think it's that black and white.
Yeah. There was something that I think related to budget, if we're still on that subject, that I think maybe the subject kind of already raised itself earlier, and that is, I don't think, Mayor, when you created the parking committee, originally, it sounds like the budget is kind of underneath the planning board, because Jay and Beth are on it. I'm thinking maybe we clarify that and maybe define those as 2 separate things, so it would be easier to track both Jay and Beth's work, you know, along with her
Because
work
Jay
on
should
the
also
council.
be, right, so the council budget, right, because Jay is
Yeah.
getting paid through the planning board budget.
Exactly, so I'm thinking, it's just a suggestion, but
I'm
if
fine
it-
with that.
I think
Yeah.
maybe that way we can be clear as to what Jay is spending time on, what Beth's spending time on, because Beth's got essentially all 3,
Yes.
right? Council, parking, and planning board. Jay's got 2. I think we should break, I think we
agree.
should define what we're spending on the parking.
I'm fine, because Jay,
Because
That's
my
okay
concern
with
was
you guys?
overspending.
Jay is,
And it may look like we're overspending on her
But-
in planning board,
but
That's
but it's not.
exactly
But
what-
it's not
Right.
happening,
that's-
right.
That's why I wanna
Give
make sure
chance
it's.
to-
So could you,
Yeah.
so,
That's
so,
why
so,
the whole thing is-
okay, so Bill, would that look like a different line item?
Be open from now on.
Would that look Bill like a different line item in the budget, one for the parking committee, so that Beth and Jay can go to the parking committee?
So I don't know that you can have that be its own budget, but maybe put it under the mayor council line,
Okay,
that way.
A separate line under the
because it
mayor.
really is the mayor and councils, because I do have, there's a member of the planning board on the subcommittee, but there's two members of council and me on the subcommittee.
Yeah.
So, as well as the municipal attorney, not the planning board attorney, you know, so,
Do you have an idea of what a budget you would want for that?
I would have to really
Yeah,
talk.
what they.
Exactly, I have
Yeah.
no idea.
But that's the whole reason for this whole stop a second.
Right.
And let's take a look at what's going on with the budget. This is exactly why. Because no one can absolutely definitively say, this is how much we spent, this is who we're spending the whole bit. The other part of that is, what are we asking our professionals? And are we asking them to come to the meetings in person, or we're asking them to be on Zoom? And if that's saving us money, why wouldn't we do this? I mean, I just think we have to do other alternatives. And it's not so black and white, because when you look at black and white, you miss all the gray, which is where the important stuff is. So my point of it is, this is why this exercise is being done, so that now everything's on the table and you can say, we need this, we need these professionals to do this, and this is the cap for that. And we can track that. And if they need to come back for more, they come back for more, and then we at least know what's going on, so that the next budget cycle, we know what's happening.
And it wasn't something I really thought of until we all
No,
just
I
got
think
to
you're
that
right. So
discussion.
Bill, what I would ask is, if you can have, I guess it would be the deputy treasurer, pull out all of Beth's bills from last year, all of them, and all of Jay's bills from last year.
And Chris,
I will go, not Chris.
yeah, because
He bills,
he's
he
on,
does bill the council.
yeah, but he bills on the, when he attends the parking committee too.
Chris is.
Don't break it out, I
Oh.
was never told to, I
Right.
will.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
maybe we
But it
should do that
should
from
But
now
you're
on.
easy.
No, because typically my budget is just an what's here, you can say, but I don't break it out, I give you the assignment and then Bill pays.
So here's the thing with
It's
Chris,
on the
like,
budget.
Chris attends the meeting, and then if there's an ordinance, like the Spring Street ordinance, then he writes the ordinance, which he would do regardless, right? So it's kind of like this, he's not doing it for the parking committee, he's doing it for the council, but
And we spend,
But
like,
he's
you know,
spending
spends
money, he's
time
spending
driving
time
down
at
here
the
and sitting.
I know, but
and
if
go back.
if there was no parking committee, he would still, I'm saying, the meeting is like basically an hour, so Chris, to figure out, my point is to figure out Chris's time is easy. I need to see Jay's and Beth's bills to figure out where they got coded to and get them coded correctly.
I think Marcia's saying that my time is never built to the planning board, right?
Right.
Whereas Beth and Jay sometimes are.
Yes, yes.
But your bill to the council, I know, I'd still like to see
It
it.
still needs to be broken
Yeah,
out.
I'd still like to
It
see it
still
breakdown.
needs to be
But-
broken out.
No.
But she's right in that it's easy for him to count, where us to
Right.
calculate,
No,
him.
Yes.
It's like 2 hours
I
per
don't-
month or
I
whatever.
need to see Chris's
Yeah.
bills to do this.
Yeah.
Chris can figure it out, you can
We need
do
to
this.
see
but-
it.
Every single entry I
We need
submit
to
to you
see
is
that.
broken down by what I'm working.
Right, exactly, what I
So-
need is to
so-
see Jay's, and if you, could you do that for me, get me all their bills from 2024. I'll go through them and see exactly what work they did for the parking committee. And
And we can estimate
and
Chris.
pull it out,
Yeah.
of both of their
Separate-
bills.
separate bill.
And I'll also try to figure out
Yeah, I mean, now,
all those
I'll
union
tell them.
hotel bills and whether or not the planning board has paid for them when they should never have paid for them. And it should come out of escrow from the council, from the redevelopment. You know, we should have gotten reimbursed for all of her time, like on the Spring Street thing and going over to the.
So are there any other professionals that we need? So for me, again, this is the corporate side of me. When you have a consultant, it doesn't matter who they are, what they're doing. Everything should be broken out and ours should be, hour on this project, this is what they worked on, hour on this project, so that you know by project how much money has been spent by project. That's the only way you can do a budget.
They do that.
But we don't see it. We need to see it before we put together this budget and approve a budget. We need to understand, this council needs to understand what's being spent where and how much is being spent. So that every month we can track what's being spent and how much money is left in each line item. That's what we need to know.
So,
That's what I asked Bill.
but like I said, if you can have those, pull those bills for me, I'll figure out exactly what the parking committee spent last year on professionals. And, you know, and I can figure out Chris's too. if Chris-
I already sent an email, just
Okay.
pointing it out,
All right, thank
so
you,
my bookkeeper will,
okay,
but
Thank you,
we all
Chris.
get billed out of the one, note. That's I think the key.
yeah,
But
and
you'll have it,
I'm
you'll
not sure
see what it is.
I'm not sure I agree that your ordinance writing on an approved ordinance.
I'm not suggesting the ordinance, just the time he spends
At the
with us at the
committee, okay.
committee, that's all.
Okay,
Look at it all, you
okay.
know, just
That's fair.
top it up any way
Okay.
you want.
I mean, the
All right.
ordinance is just,
He's got a
I
regular
mean,
ordinance.
the
We're-
time that he
everybody's-
spends on council, that's, I mean, that should be cut and dry. I mean, we would see how much he spent over a period of.
Yeah.
Every entry on my bills is broken down.
Yeah.
project,
Okay.
it's on.
Yeah, that's
Every
what
single
we
one.
need to see.
Those
I never
facts-
even, except for my time in these meetings, which are just so obvious that I don't label it, but everything else.
All right, thank you for bringing it up, Councilwoman.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Bill's gonna stay for the bills list, or can I ask a question about that right now?
Ask Bill. Are you staying for the bill list?
I'll be here.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, now, let's wait till there's a motion and there's a discussion, so. Anything else? Were you planning on leaving early? Because we've got this other work session thing. Because I can move the bills itself. I mean, we can make a motion to move the bills itself.
I have work to do.
You do? All right. All right, if not, then,
Can we just move the bills up so he can ask his
No,
question?
that's
and we
fine,
can get it
I don't
done?
even know if you can answer the question, it's about.
So he doesn't have to come back in? Can we just move it?
sure, go ahead,
Whatever.
go ahead, Chad.
There's electric, we're paying for electricity for, I guess, I think it says 79 Main Street, I think it's supposed to be 78 Main Street and 110 Main Street.
Yeah,
Which last time I checked, we don't own or rent anymore. So,
Yeah, so we actually got reimbursed for that, it,
Okay. so,
I actually just deposited the check tonight, but it was still under our name and, the deputy treasurer went, through with it, with the, both, I think it was the electric clerk and the, one of the other utility something, and they changed all the names over to that, so, to the new owner, so,
so we won't be billed for that anymore?
correct.
Okay, I think that was the question.
that was it, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, so
I need to sign it.
events ordinance. I put this here because, our professional staff and our DPWs, I can't be still on.
No.
Went to bed, okay. Go to bed. So the events ordinance, Brian, I should just let you talk about it to the council about why it's brought back, because this was just done. So you talk about it.
Okay, so obviously last year we reintroduced the event ordinance, council made some recommendations, changes, we finally got this off the ground. The events committee, which is comprised of myself, chief of police, Mike Campion, Ken McCormick. And then the mayor and Councilman Funk both sit on the committee. We've been meeting over since the end of the year last year and the beginning of this year to unpack, you know, what went right, what went wrong with a lot of the events. How can we improve our process and listening to the staff from Borough Hall and how things are processed and the people that are working the events from the borough and to figure out what do we need to do to fix some things to move forward. So out of that, what we're dealing with tonight is we have requested some changes to the ordinance, specifically the structure of what events are considered borough events versus what are outside agency events, as well as some verbiage on rain dates, how we bill. So
And I think Carla has concerns about what we do.
right, so then there's fees on top of that, right?
That's
So, and that's something we'll have to kick back to you folks, because as you recall, we were met last year, with some opposition
You mean
from
vendor fees?
vendor fees and what we were even charging for the permits
Oh,
at the
okay.
time. So right now, if you get your permit in 90 days in advance, you pay $25. If you're outside the 90-day window, it's $75. The clerk feels that we should up those fees, that it's not enough for what the time of the staff to process those fees. So that's one component of
Absolutely.
what to be discussed. The other side of the coin,
So,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
please.
what's the easiest thing, let's like go from easiest to hardest, what's the easiest thing for the council to discuss in this event ordinance and come to a conclusion on? Is
I
it,
think all three.
There's nothing of it.
The's nothing
nothing
easy about all three of
Alright.
them, so if you wanna just start with,
so let's,
Rand
so one,
maybe the.
one of the things that the new contract that the council ratified with the CWA last meeting is that the police contract guaranteed the police department
4-hour minimum.
4-hour minimum, whether the event happened or not. The DPW was not guaranteed that, and they were, giving up their Saturday or Sunday with their family, and then they weren't getting necessarily paid if an event didn't happen. So that was fixed in the contract, so now the CWA is also guaranteed to be paid. So then we'll just tackle we'll tackle the three of them. So one of the big discussions is rain dates. So currently, there are three, what Brian calls, Sergeant McNally terms, as borough sanctioned events, which means the borough eats the police and the DPW.
Correct.
And that's a big nut, and there are three of them. One is the Memorial Day parade, one is the Christmas parade, and the third is the fireworks. That's it. Everybody else, every single event pays for police and DPW, okay? So, and like I said, it's a very expensive nut for the borough to eat, because when these big events happen, the entire DPW is here. They are on, the police department's
Every
got 20
police
cops.
officer, every DPW worker,
So-
we're bringing in for like the holiday parade,
Right.
it's not only our police department, we're bringing in 5 or 6 sheriff's officers that the county's paying for.
And the DPW also has to set up ahead of time, so there's a lot of staging, whatever. So just so you understand the difference when Sergeant McNally says a borough sanctioned event versus non-sanctioned. So right now, those three events, two of the three, the two parades are rain or shine. There are never rain dates on those parades, ever. And they've had both parades, especially the holiday parade, it has poured some years and they've had that parade.
Correct.
The fireworks does have one rain date. It is a borough sanctioned event, it is allowed one rain date. So the proposal is that Sip and Stroll, which is the largest event in the borough, outside of those three borough sanctioned events, should be allowed one rain date.
No, you mean beer tomorrow
No.
and.
What did I say?
Sip and
I'm
stroll.
sorry.
Sip and stroll.
No, I'm not, it's the
Yeah.
corn beer and
Corn,
tomato would be allowed one rain date because it is the borough's largest sanctioned event. And not any other organization would be allowed a rain date because our DPW, like all these events are mostly in the summer and the fall. Our DPW is really pushing back on this, that they have to reserve all of those weekends for rain dates and can never book like easily a family party, a family picnic going
So the way,
anywhere.
the way it works, I'll just speak on it real quick, cause I've heard it from the police, I've heard it from DPW, right? We have 15 events that require substantial DPW or police resources, and it's not necessarily all of them. And for all those
It is
15,
the DPW.
but yeah, for the most part, it's almost all DPW and pretty much the entire side of the week for the police department that's off. Okay, so that's 15 weekends, and then right now, each one of those event organizers puts in their application, they get a reserve date, and then they get a rain date. That's 30 weekends out of 52 that our borough employees are now locked in to being here, and half of them, right, you're only getting paid for when it happens, but you've now locked out your weekend for that event, right? So it's cumbersome on them. So to that point, what we've done with this escrow, right, now there's no requirement that the organizers have to put any money up. Now what we're asking for is an escrow account. So that when they put in their application, they're gonna be responsible to pay for the 4 hour minimum for the police and the DPW right off the bat, whether their event happens or not. So that way we're not trying to chase them down after the fact. If they cancel their event, they pull the rug out from under us at the last minute. Once your event's approved, you're submitting your escrow, you're paid for at that point. Then you'll get a bill at the end from both DPW and the police as to what you owe as the remainder. So if you,
Or
your
pay back.
if your event was, you know, you've seen corned beef tomato go 18 hours, right, from setup to cleanup, she would pay the initial 4 off the bat, and then she'd get a bill for the remainder from both DPW and the police, right?
So one option, rather than just saying no rain dates, is you want a rain date, then
You
you
could
have
buy
to buy it, put in a second new permit, for that is your rain date, and put in that escrow, non-refundable. So if our DPW and our police are reserving another weekend away from their family, they're gonna get paid, whether it happens or not.
Why wouldn't you just put the escrow up front, period, without
The entire amount, because then
Why
if, because if the event gets canceled or rained out, then we have to go through a whole process to refund the event organizer for the remainder. So right now,
But, okay, but hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. The point of it is, if they have to come back and rebook, you've got to do everything all over again. So the point of it is why wouldn't you just say, put this money in escrow, you
we
get to
don't know,
choose
we don't
what-
know how long the event is, right? We don't know when, it's taking corned beef tomatoes sometimes 4 hours, 5 hours after the event to get the roads open. Salsa night, same thing, some other, so we don't know, we know the event ends at 8
Okay,
PM.
Hold on,
But that doesn't mean it
maybe
ends
I'm
at
just
8
trying to
p.m.
understand the escrow.
Yeah.
Because this is the way I remember the escrow, okay, so the point of it is, I book an event.
Mhm.
When I book the event, I'm putting money in escrow, the money in escrow goes for if there is a rain date. If it rains out, these people are gonna get paid no matter what. Correct, okay, so why wouldn't you just have them put it up so they don't have to come back in and do whatever? Because I know, for instance, on FCP, they already have their rain date. If it's not gonna happen, here's the rain date. And if it doesn't happen, then it's not gonna happen, right? I mean, that's already been discussed. So I guess I'm just trying to understand, it seems like it's just as much work to do this
So
as
it's
it is to do this.
you'd be booking one event at a time. So take FCP out, let's say Salsa Night, because that's a better example, right?
Yeah,
So Salsa
that's
Night,
not FCP, so don't say that.
Exactly, so she puts in 2 dates.
Yep.
Right, expecting that one's not gonna happen. So right now, if she wants 2 dates, she has to escrow 2 dates at the minimum amount, knowing that one of them's going to be canceled and she's gonna have to pay for the other one.
Okay.
So that's the
That's the
point,
proposal.
that's the proposed escrow,
that-
the reason
No,
we
I
can't
understand
bill,
that. No, I
we
understand
can't
that,
build-
but
We
I'm
don't
saying,
allow
why
rain
wouldn't you
dates
just
on
do it all
certain
up front?
things, that's it.
It's, I mean, you double,
Rain
why
or
wouldn't you
shine.
just put it all up front?
I don't know.
Wait, Tony, you mean for the 2 events? I wanna make sure.
Yeah, you just put it all up
She
front,
cer-
because
she
you're gonna
certainly
get, you're gonna get reimbursed, or we're gonna take the money.
Could it be expensive?
yeah, it could be very
Yeah,
expensive.
To escrow for 2 events.
I mean, so an escrow for Salsa Night could be.
Or they go rain or shine.
What's the rate?
Exactly,
Salsa night.
exactly, no,
Salsa
look,
Night would be.
we're
That's
trying
what
to-
we want. I mean, I'm on the side of our employees.
Listen, you're
that
having
it's
an
rain or
event-
shine.
Yeah, no, listen, they know how much money they make and how much money they don't make.
People walk in with like 3 rain dates.
And like, I think FCP put in 3 rain dates
So our
originally.
account would be
No.
6,400,
Brian,
I
did
think, on 8
FCP
hours.
put in 3 rain dates for corned beef?
Corned beef tomato this year, there was 3 submitted, but it's been
No,
worked back.
no,
Right.
they only have 1 rain day.
I have a list, but so she did put in 3, what she did is she put in an initial date for August, a second date for August as a rain date, but then proposed a 3rd date in October and called it Harvest Festival, with the
Okay.
idea that if it didn't go, she would roll everything into Harvest Fest.
So what my suggestion was, is push that back.
Well, we're
Push that back.
canceling the second August rain date. She's not getting that one because it's the same night as Salsa Night. We
Okay.
can't do them both at
Okay.
the same time.
Yeah.
So that's the
But
events
I
committee
would
gets
just roll
named
it
that.
back. I would just push it back and just, okay, so, because you can't like flip flop. The point of it is it corn, tomato and beer, or is it is it
Harvest.
Harvest Fest? It can't.
It's two different things.
Is it is or is it ain't, right?
Well,
So so the bottom line is, I would push it back, and you can just tell, you can push it, well, it's not tape, you can push it back, just, you have this. If this doesn't happen, then it's in October, and you can call it whatever you want, but it's not Corn Tomato and Beer Fest.
That's fine, and then look, we can certainly unpack that, like,
But is she putting up hold on, but if the Oktoberfest, because I mean, if the Harvest Fest rains out. Because that's another event,
then it's just
then that's
canceled,
it,
it's just canceled.
okay, but if she's calling it something, that's my point.
I'm getting
Am I not hearing this? So Corn Tomato and Beer, she's now gonna call it Oktoberfest, Oktoberfest is a different event. In their eyes, Oktoberfest
They're
would be a
doing-
different
so they're
event.
gonna
She's telling us,
No, but you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, but are they doing both? Like if Corn Tomato goes, is she still doing Harvest
No.
Fest?
No,
No.
Oh,
but. I
That's what
know,
I'm saying.
it's a slippery slope, but my point of it is the way that they're gonna get, the way I would get around it is say, well, wait a minute, I'm calling it a different event. So I get another rain date. You see what I'm saying?
oh, yeah, I do.
Right?
Yeah.
I gotta think this stuff through a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, okay, so we have 3 sanctioned events, one of which does get a rain date, which is fireworks, they're ours. Again, I don't really have a I mean, I don't know if you have a problem, I have a problem giving Corn Beer and Tomato a rain date,
Me either.
okay, cause they
It's
are
only
our
one
biggest one.
right,
They
that's
are
what,
our
that's what
biggest-
we're proposing.
Now, they
No,
would,
but
they would.
No,
it's
but
the
you
same structure.
you missed something. He said that they're not gonna do August because it's salsa.
Salsa night.
So they're gonna move it to October and
No,
it'll be
no.
called Harvest Festival. Isn't that what I
He
just heard
said
you say?
did you say Robin gave 2 rain dates and 1 salsa, so she does have 1
When
rain
she
date.
submitted her application, it has 3 dates on it, and she wrote on it
Yeah.
that she wants this date for August, this date for August, but if they're no-go, she's gonna have Harvest Festival
Oh,
this date. It's
so-
all on the same application.
So she needs, so is Harvest Fest gonna be?
If a corn beer tomato happens on August
In
9th, there is no Harvest Festival.
It is
No,
gone,
It's gone,
gone,
yes.
so it is her rain date.
You know why they're
Yes.
renaming it?
What day did they
Because-
propose for the harvest?
Corn, tomato, and beer is done. I mean,
There's no
corn and tomato is done.
There's
after-
no
beer,
veggies.
though.
Right, I got it, no
Only
veggies.
beer.
I have to pull.
Only
The
beer.
beer is there.
Oh,
Right.
So, we know it's coming,
Right.
so,
So the point of it is that they were renaming it so that,
Got it.
so they could still have,
so that's their
A
rain date,
festival.
one rain date, which is the Harvest Fest.
For 2025.
yes.
But and we all understand that part of their deal is that if Corn Beer Tomato happens, they don't also get a free Harvest Fest.
No,
It's off
that's
the
exactly,
calendar.
that's exactly
Okay.
right. That's
Yeah,
exactly
Yeah,
right.
but,
That's
yeah,
exactly
that's,
right.
that's a small part of it.
Just call it FCP Festival and like whatever the name of it is, it
Who the
becomes,
hell
like, you know,
knows? I mean,
like
I
on the
still don't get-
application.
So, Okay,
That
so,
makes
so just to recap where we are on rain dates. There is a consensus from the council, yes or no, that there will be no rain dates given except for the borough sanctioned fireworks and for the largest outside event we have, which is corn beer and tomato,
Which you cannot do by ordinance.
which we cannot do by
That's it,
ordinance.
yes.
Wait,
Cannot do
why
by
can't, I
ordinance.
don't understand that, why can't
You can't single out specific events by ordinance, you can do it by resolution, right, it's called special legislation, can't do it, it's illegal. But as I've said, you can do it by resolution, which we've done in this room in the past, by exempting the event, if you just simply state exactly what you just said, Mayor, in the resolution, that is the largest event, we are giving them an exemption and allowing them a rain date.
So with that, so the ordinance would get passed first into law and the night of the public hearing, we could do the resolution?
Well, I would wait until probably it was relevant to do it,
To do the resolution.
yeah, wait until, it might not be relevant, it might not rain.
Do we have to do that every year,
Well,
resolution?
Then we gotta take, but we have to take the
Only
rain
there's
date
a
off the
rate.
application, and then we have to notify the organizers that we're not gonna.
Yeah, I'll do anything you want, except like, you can't put it in the ordinance, so.
Okay, we can't put it in the ordinance, we can do the resolution whenever it's necessity, so it's not like it has to be done at a certain time following an ordinance being. Having an amended ordinance on the event ordinance, right? That's what I'm getting from you. We can do it anytime.
Do the resolution anytime.
Okay, all right, so that takes care of
You
that.
grant them
No,
relief
but he
from
said, but I don't think you're hearing what he's saying. The point of it is that it's on the application
But
for
that's,
the rain date. So the point of it is if he has to wait for a resolution for the
No.
rain date, well, how is he gonna
he
communicate
has,
that?
he has to wait for the ordinance to be changed now saying nobody gets a rain date.
Except borough
This is
sponsored
where we're
events.
going.
And then the application would change as far as I'm aware.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, the application would change.
And
So
And
we
then
really
we can,
need to
and then we
change
can do
the
a resolution exempting corn, beer, and tomato and allowing them to have rain dates.
Listening.
that is what I would
We
recommend.
have to.
Okay.
I got it, right? I understand it, so I can guide
Okay,
it.
I got it.
Okay,
Okay, so you don't have
So
to
you-
change the form.
Well, I wanna take rain date off the form because I don't want anytime somebody downloads the application for an event, they're gonna write in a rain date, that's the problem we're dealing with now. Everybody thinks they get a rain date.
God, so
Understood.
the new amended version of the event ordinance, number one,
Understood.
would take out rain dates.
Yes.
Except for the 3 borough sanctioned, well,
Right.
1 borough sanctioned event.
And that would be done via resolution.
No, it's borough sanctioned.
Sanctions, yeah.
Sanction, okay.
Right, now, cause like
It's the
the
borough.
mayor and I talked,
So-
we're running a public safety community day, June 14th.
Right, the police.
That's a
department is doing-
borough sanctioned event, we're going to have a rain date for that event. So
Which is
in the,
allowed in this ordinance.
correct, so I just want everybody to be aware of
Borough
what
sanctioned-
a borough sanctioned
Right.
event is.
Which are,
Right.
I believe, the 3 that the mayor said.
It is not, we're
It's
gonna
the
give them the
police
exemption of
department.
allowing
Okay,
it.
It's
so I was
sanctioned in
gonna
the-
say, that's not a borough.
It's
It's
sanctioned
not.
in the broadest sense that as much as you issue a permit by issuing a permit, you sanction it. Well, you mean here the 3 events that you said before. Sponsored.
So,
Right,
so the only ones that we're actually giving a rain date for borough is corn, tomato, and beer, because that's just, we're gonna
'Cause it's big.
bring them in,
and fireworks.
and fireworks.
But they,
Parades and all that,
no,
off the
they don't
table.
ask for it, they don't ask for it.
But if
They
they'd be
always-
entitled to it under the
Memorial Day-
ordinance.
They would be entitled to it if, but
Whereas corn, tomato, and beer is not entitled to it under the ordinance for the reasons I've already
Right.
said.
The parades are.
the
So
parades would
what
be, but
I
they
would
will never do that.
Suggest here, with Robin is that if she wants a rain date, you should request the rain date in an email to the point of contact, perhaps Sergeant McNally.
But only for that, she's not getting, that.
Anyone can request it, but you're only
Like
granting
the
it for
witch
tomato and
walk
beer.
wouldn't be entitled, the sip and strolls aren't entitled, because none of them, I mean, this is
Anyone
specifically.
could ask for it, but
Right.
you described the policy for corn, tomato, and beer and the reason why. And as I've always noted, that's what I look for in an exemption granted. by
I think the only thing we do have to drill down a little bit to, Chris, it has to be in which borough services are required. So like, let's use the Moon Market as an example that happens on Stengel. They complete a event application, okay, they may hire a police officer, right, to do security, but it doesn't require large scale road closures or anything. She could submit as many rain dates as she wants for her private event on her private property, right? She's submitting an
Because we're
application
not
for that.
reserving.
But we're
staff.
not reserving staff, we're not shutting down borough roadways, we're not impacting travel within the borough. So like private property events would be permissible to have a rain date, like the one they're gonna have over at Vivo.
Hold on 1 second, because I just want us to think ahead here. September, around September, Courthouse Square is gonna be open. There's gonna be no, it is, it's
Is
September, October,
Okay, we'll make a bet.
no later,
Gotcha.
September, October. I talked to the powers that be today,
So hard to keep it straight.
and there's narrative reasons, I understand, it's weather, it's this, that, and the other, this
So
slowing
what's,
down.
he's gonna have a
So-
big event.
But there's gonna be FCP is working to do several big events in conjunction with this Courthouse Square opening,
Will
right?
that mostly be in the plaza?
I think will be in the plaza, but it will also be on Main Street because they wanna involve all the restaurants and retailers
Okay.
on the thing, which is the right thing to do, right? That's the one things I have been pushing. So there's not gonna be just one event, there's gonna be several events throughout. Because it's October, so November and December, so it's Christmas time and shopping time and the whole bit, which is what you really want.
Mhm.
So that said, so if an event is planned for today and it happens to rain today. Then it's planned for the following weekend or the following Friday or whatever the case may be. How is that gonna affect them? I just wanna make sure that we're not closing this in
So
so
the
that.
question is, does he require a lot of police and DPW?
Well,
If he doesn't,
him,
then
not him. It's
The
it's
event.
FCP, all the event, it's all the stores, it's all the restaurants.
So what we
it's
would be
everything.
looking at, Tony,
Yeah.
is, so we maintain a list of all the events, like these are just Robin's events.
Right.
Right, so what we would do is the event comes in, we would see, hey, there's a conflicting event, is it on Main Street? Well, okay, somebody else already has a conflicting event on Main Street, so you can't. Yeah, I'm sorry it rained on that date, but you can't have your event on Main
No,
Street.
I
No, but the
understand that,
question
I
is-
understand that,
He's
that's not
gonna
what I'm
get,
asking.
I think he's gonna get the application, and she's gonna describe how people are gonna flow on Main Street and what they're gonna be doing. And the police will then look at it, Brian will look at it and determine, do we need to put 10 cops
Oh,
on
yeah,
it?
no, we do a
That's
safety assessment.
when you know
Correct.
whether or not
Yes,
it's gonna cost money.
Yes.
Otherwise, if it's just regular cops walk, a couple cops walking the street, and the DPW doesn't have to be there closing off the street or
Mhm.
having dumpsters out, then there's just de minimis.
Yeah, we just need to figure that out, but also I do know that the jazz festival is gonna be on Main
that
Street.
is,
Yes.
correct, it
Okay,
is,
so just,
Brian proposes
but that's gonna be a rain, but
that's
gonna
rain or
be-
shine.
But, yes,
Rain or shine.
it is.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say, Chris?
Brian proposed the language requires borough services, which I have added to the draft I circulated.
So it's, so,
Requires borough services.
We didn't have that in there before.
I said borough sponsored events.
which requires borough service.
So there, if
Well,
you
we're
go
gonna
deeper into the
label it.
ordinance, I talk about the discretion of the events committee, but because there might be others, the problem is that there's a million events, right? Not a million events, but and each of them has their own story, as we just talked about, because there's 7 of them, right? So deeper in the ordinance, I use the language at the determination and discretion of the borough's events committee, but for the rain date part, which is what we're talking about now, if the standard is requires borough services, that language can be added.
But would a
Which I
layman
think you're right,
filling
so-
out that form know, understand really what that means? Wouldn't it be better if we just said, these are the events that the, you know, the borough sponsored events? Like, I'm just thinking when someone downloads the form that Trent spent time
I didn't,
creating.
I didn't do this one.
Brian did it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brian,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
just within our form.
The other tech nerd has.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to,
Yeah.
should have put credit where credit is due. But is somebody really gonna understand what that means, that change of wording?
So the hope is to have like a directional on the events page, so when you go to the borough website now,
That's a
there
good
would
idea.
be, basically bullet points of, if you're applying for this type of event, you're gonna fill out this form. This is what you're entitled to, and these are your requirements, and that's what the hope is to accomplish. You know, FCP's asked for years, a roadmap of how to fill out this, and
Yeah.
who needs to do it and why. Sally Graziano did a really, you know, high-end version of that years ago. But you know, it was almost too confusing, so we need to just like get it drilled down to a few points so that people can download the form and know this is my type of event and this is what I have to fill out.
Great
Okay,
answer.
so my last question is, how are we communicating, because now you've got a shift,
Yeah,
right? So how is that shift being communicated to all the people who have done this before
so
and?
once this ordinance is passed, I would blast email out every event organizer that I've worked
Okay.
with over the last 5 years
Okay,
to
that's good.
explain what the change in the process is. I already notified Mrs. Lax that the ordinance is under review and that there's gonna probably be a rain date issue. Because, you know, that's, you know, one of our bigger events that always has an issue. Because of the time of year in which it's held.
But that's not a borough sponsored event, that's a private. event.
Right, but I'm just letting her know that don't guarantee you're getting a rain date.
But I wanna go back to the escrow, but I
Okay.
wanna go back to
Sure.
the
Okay.
escrow, because this is a good example, just what he brought up with salsa net. That's a good event, so the point of it is. The escrow, so he's putting in her application, the application says, I'm gonna have it May 5, May 5th or whatever, and the rain date is, because she's giving you a rain date.
May 12th.
Right, okay,
I've said-
so what point are you putting in escrow?
Well, so
That's my
the intention
point.
of, and I like where you're coming from, so the escrow amount would be the 4-hour minimum for date 1. For the public safety assessment of what the police say they're putting out there and what DPW is saying they're putting out there staff wise. So Chris and I worked through what that looks like,
Okay.
and I've already talked
So
to my
it's a 4-hour
campaign
minimum for
attorney.
the initial,
For
for
May
the
5.
initial 5.
But
Yeah, but
then
if she
there
wants a
would
rain
be-
date, then she's gotta double it for the second
The
date.
whole-
Now,
the-
Oh, because they're gonna get paid twice, I
The
got it.
second event, right?
Right,
No,
so-
no,
no, right,
So,
That's
yeah,
what
the
they
events,
want.
the events
Our
committee came
staff
back
did
and said
it.
she would have to pull a
They did
separate
That's
application for the second date.
Well, it would all go into escrow, right? If she wanted,
She could pull 2 event applications at the same time and we could collect, the escrow for
Oh,
both
it's
dates.
another event.
Correct, because we're not allowing a rain date, it has to be a second event.
Her rain date is her second event.
I missed
And if
that.
she doesn't,
Yeah,
And
this
you have to take a
ordinance,
permit.
Okay,
All of it.
so
under this
everything has
ordinance,
to, so you're starting from square one.
I don't think we were clear on that.
If she
You and I
doesn't
have a-
cancel
like,
the-
Yeah,
it
we've
was so
already
fast.
done it, yeah.
She does, that's within 14 days, Chris.
she surrenders the escrow she didn't use. Not he or she or they, right? I don't wanna-
Any organization.
Yeah, they have to
But
cancel.
now we're
it
gonna
in
get to
14
rain
days,
date.
right? That's what it says.
Just so everybody understands, in order to get the rain date, it is a new permit, so
Right,
again,
that's
the
what,
front
that's
fees,
what I,
again,
that's what I
because we
missed.
weren't clear about
They
that,
wouldn't get their
That's what I
permit fees back.
right?
That's.
So, everything starts from ground zero.
They get their escrow, but not
And
their
our,
permit fees
right, and our
back.
DPW and our
Right,
Chris?
police get paid 4 hours for giving up
Cost
a
of
gas.
So
service.
let me ask you a question, why would they have to, I'm just asking this question. Why would they have to do another permit and a whole bit? Isn't it just that we wanna make sure that the police and DPW get paid for their inconvenience in their work and da. So why are they going back through the entire process?
Because otherwise it is a rain date and we're not gonna allow rain dates.
But the only thing I find problematic now,
I mean, they can just pay for a rain date with
That's
the
what we're
application,
discussing.
the escrow.
yeah, but now
Yeah.
we're saying with the cancellation clauses within both contracts, it's how many days?
14.
14 days in the ordinance.
So if an event organizer built out their rain date 15 days after the initial event date
Then they get.
and canceled it the next day, the police and DPW would not get paid.
So it can't be a rain date, it's gotta be another permit.
Yeah.
In order to make sure our DPW and our police are all.
I don't even know if
date.
that
I'm
protects
just
it.
struggling with the permit, I get
Do
it,
we wanna
I'm not
constrict the
doing
days in
this,
which
I'm
they can
just
do a
trying
rain
to
date?
struggle with it,
Like,
because
you
if
can
I
do a
were
rain
No,
date within
what I-
event organizer, I'd be like.
And all of this.
No, it rains on the date of the event, so I'm gonna assume what Brian's saying here.
Yeah.
No, I
If it
understand.
rains on the
Oh,
day, the
because
date
it
is
was the
canceled
first-
on, let's say it's the first
Yeah,
of the month.
I got it,
Right.
The rain date, the money is surrendered.
It just,
They
it just.
lost their money.
They would get paid for that day.
Got it,
The special
okay.
time that the police and the DPW are using to be paid for that day. They have pre-filed for a second event prophylactically, right? On the 15th of the month, right? They have one day to decide whether or not they want to keep that event or cancel it. They cancel that event, they get the escrow money back, right? If they do not cancel the event, then we are now on the 3rd of the month, right? They are locked into the event and they have now surrendered to escrow.
Correct. But in the reverse though, if event, and they've locked in event A for the 14th of the month and event B for the 30th of the month. And then event A is a go, they're canceling event B because of the clause for the 14-day cancellation, the police and the DPW would not get paid for scheduling out their weekend six months in advance.
That's why it's gotta be a second.
Yeah, I hear you, but then-
I know the second permit doesn't protect
But
it.
that is a protective because now, and this is where it gets really complicated, and I laid it in my email. Now they've had to have no one's gonna do a rain date, because no one is gonna, $6,400 just for your DPW, for your police, not even, without even the DPW.
Well,
No one's gonna put down
yeah.
$20,000 for two escrows, two $10,000 escrows.
Right, and the
These
DPW.
some of these
has-
are fundraisers, right?
I mean,
You know?
Mike Campion absolutely said, the last time we sat down, Brian can correct me if I got it wrong, that the guys really want to spend time, and sometimes their own families,
Yeah.
and that the money is not as important
That's
as,
what I
you know.
wanted to mention was like, for those of, there's 3 people on this committee that's never been in the labor, had the opportunity to be on either the CWA or the police, contract negotiations. And this is also for the public's understanding why we're discussing this for so long, because it seems like a minor issue, but it really isn't, and I think Brian touched upon it earlier, and I just wanna clarify, it's one of the things that I really learned from that experience being on that CWA committee the last couple of years is that, both the police and the DPW have to put their vacation in, just like we all have to for our bosses, right? However, with them, it's a little different where their bosses actually have to know X amount of time in advance, and to the point where we actually had to kind of adjust the DPW contract to take into account that
Right.
they weren't using all of their vacation
But
by
it's just
December because
There's a
of
lot
this,
people.
these scheduling issues, it's complicated, so it's
And the other
important that
thing-
we're sensitive
just
to
don't
that,
have a lot of
that's
people.
why this
Under-
is important.
Under
Yeah.
public employee law, these events do not fall under their job duty
Yeah.
description,
Mhm,
so we can't make them work.
mhm.
Like, we cannot say to the police, and we cannot say to the DPW, you better be at this and such event, we can't do it under the law. If the water main breaks, we can say you better show up and fix the water main break, and we don't even have to say that to them, because that's in their job description and they will show up. But we can't make them sign up for overtime.
I think just the respect for family and quality,
Exactly.
work
30 weeks.
But I
work
still
life
wanna go back.
quality, that to me is the driving,
Yeah.
that drives me.
101%.
Human beings and these.
101%.
Our
That's why we put the money in their contract because of that, because they weren't getting paid for it, even if they didn't start. But I just wanna make sure I understand
Sure.
something, so. If they book another one.
Mhm.
Tell me about the escrow again, because you're saying they'll lose the
So,
escrow.
Tony, if
I
I
mean,
may, I think this might be a good point of clarification. But I'm phrasing a question towards Sergeant McNally, at what is the time frame to cancel an event where you would get your escrow back?
Well, and that, I think the intention is there would be no.
So that
escrow.
section C there would be completely changed. Once you schedule your event and post your escrow,
Well, so
You
we
surrender
we have to
the
go
escrow.
back, we have to go back to the contracts. So the DPW, what's the cancellation clause in their contract?
I don't think there is one.
I don't think there is one either.
You just
So-
put it in there.
Let me pull
Is
it
there
here.
one in the PD?
We adjusted the time that they had to
No.
like put in their, put in their vacations.
Right,
because
right,
we
but
kept
no,
coming
but
up
not
against-
for this.
But it's
Yeah.
related to
It's not for
this.
this.
the answer to that question now is 14 days. No.
But, okay, so I scheduled something, I see that it's gonna rain, I call up and say, okay, I'm canceling this event. I get my money back?
You never do. Because unless you see I'm 15 days out now, Brian's gonna tell us something different, maybe.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying, if I'm like, I'm watching them, cause most people who have an event, they'll start watching the news like 2 weeks out to figure out if it's gonna rain or whatever.
No one is
And
realistically
if they
cancel
say
their
that-
event 15 days out. They're gonna hope that it doesn't rain, right? When they're gonna lose their money.
Well, it depends on what the organization is.
But it's not just
You don't-
this
you
money,
say
they're
it's only
doing, using all their deposits for their vendors and stuff like that, so it's a big deal.
Rain becomes a
I'm just
catastrophe,
gonna be
Yeah.
right.
a real catastrophe, which might be a charity, right?
Right,
So-
very sensitive.
So we're okay with moving this the way, we're okay, right?
Yeah, no, I
Everybody's-
think it's-
Everybody's
I
on
think it's
board.
good.
I don't know what that means.
But
What
it's-
that means is, there are no rain dates. And there's not gonna be, the cancellation has to be tightened up
Right.
to get a reimbursement.
The language I put in here now has to come out anyway because I I thought that the escrow would carry over to a future event, which is not even remotely the case.
It is
And Chris is
not,
in my email, so the language that's in there now has to come out in C.
Yep.
The 14 business days is very much in the air right now.
So the police contract was changed in 2022. The request of, at the time, the borough, which is if an outside detail is canceled with less than 7 business days notice from the date of the scheduled detail, the outside contractor shall be responsible to pay the officer who is set to work the detail for 4 hours of the cancellation.
so
Less
seven-
than 7? Less than.
Less than 7 business days
So
notice.
14
It used to be
is fine.
14.
14 is fine, because you can always make it more, you can't make it less than 7. Or you can make it more. If you want,
What's-
you can make it 7, I
So,
don't care.
but there's a clause, however, the details canceled due to extreme weather emergency declared hurricane, tropical storm or
Force
snow
majeure.
emergency.
Put something there about force majeure. That's.
Oh, it's already in there. and-
Yeah, we have it in the contract.
Can I make a suggestion? I mean, it sounds like, I think that maybe, because we're not introducing this tonight.
No, no.
Right, so
No.
why don't we let
That's why I said work
Brian
session.
and Chris and And
Continue-
anybody else that's like,
continue to cover
yeah,
this.
continue this a little
Well,
bit.
how about the fee?
Because
But wait a
the
minute.
date's getting close,
But we
right?
don't, but we only got,
Yeah.
we only got two of these.
Yeah, so the last one is the fees, for what do you feel is a fair application fee for?
I would turn to Carla, because you guys are the ones that have been processing
I would
these.
say at least $75 for application fee and $125. What was the other fee for?
It's, well, so it's 75 if it's within 90 days of the event and 125 if
Yeah.
it's 9
I
less
thought
than
you
90.
said it was $25.
It's 25 now.
So make it
Oh, now.
75.
Which
Oh,
they're
money on
trying
the
to
table.
So
say-
make it
Money on
75.
the table.
So that-
Well, 25 doesn't cover Carla's
No.
Doesn't cover
time
anything.
to process.
No.
To process one of these things.
Right, and some of these major events, 125 doesn't cover the time for us to write the plan.
And believe me, so many people come in late.
And so, you know. The thing that, again, I always look down the road, what's gonna happen next year this time, right? It's not this year. But vendors are gonna wanna come in, because now there's gonna be things happen, right? And they're gonna want us around, so I do not think the $75 is unreasonable at all. I don't think it's unreasonable, and
You didn't think it was unreasonable last year, and then we had all these people show up and a number of members of the governing body at that time,
we
who are not all here any longer, were like, oh, it's too much money, these are not for profit, then we lowered the fee. And now we're back saying, you know.
Here's what I've learned about
So-
non-for-profits, just from people I know that work with non-for-profits in this whole thing. They pay the fees, they don't expect a break, by the way, they don't, because the whole idea is that they're getting they're gonna be making money. And $75 is
Some
not going
people
to
expect.
break them. But think about this, at the Corpse Melon Beer Festival. Think about how much money these guys make.
yeah.
They make a lot of money.
The
Which is one
vendors.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, not
And
the
so-
FCP,
so-
the bankers make a lot of money.
Don't get me started on that, because that will be a whole nother discussion, but the bottom line is that, so they're coming in, we're like giving you business. And you're balking about $75, really?
It's like a vendor, like
Really?
a craft show. You're paying $75
Yeah.
for a table.
That's very
space.
basic.
Yeah,
That's very basic.
75 is not a lot of money. I'm sorry.
So is everybody okay with the 75 and the $125?
No, I did, I heard,
I
I
had the
heard
higher
you.
fee
No, I
last
just
year.
had to tell her
I
something,
wanted
that's
it,
all.
you go back, I wanted it more,
Is
but I
everybody-
was,
But is anybody object to the 75
I mean, we could up it,
and the 125?
make it 100.
What was the 125 for, was less?
If it's
than
late,
less than 90 days.
And
Less than-
believe me, we get a lot
And
of
again,
late
these are for
people.
applications that require borough services. If you're just having a event on your private property, you're not
You're gonna
paying
have to do
these
that.
these fees like that because we're not processing anything.
Okay.
So if you're having like let's use Moon Market. Tony sends it in, it goes to the events committee, fire marshal takes a look at it, police chief takes a look at it, my campaign takes a look at it, they all say, no service is needed, we're good with it. They issue the permit.
Right, because it's in parking lots, it's not.
Can we just, what were the fees again? 'Cause I'm looking at this. section.
75 for
75 and
application.
Moving to 75 and 125, I think you
From
have it.
25 and 75?
Uh-huh,
But the language there is for applications received within the specified time frame or without the specified time frame.
Right.
In
Uh-huh.
A, so you wanna go to
75
75?
and one from
within,
this, from
That says nothing about borough services, so
25
75
to
and one, I'm making a
75.
change right now, but
Okay.
that's not, it just says nothing in this section about.
Right, you
borough
agree it should just be for borough services, or do you want it for every application?
like for Ken and everybody else.
Well, yeah, but if we're not
Council President, I think this should be for everybody,
okay,
I do too.
then it's for.
because
How are you
it's
gonna-
about the amount of time it takes for Carla or Maureen to look at these things. It doesn't matter
It's the
whether,
back end,
it's not just Brian's time, it's also
Right.
staff time.
it's the
to-
back end.
Well, yeah, but
Exactly.
but I'm saying for somebody like Moon Market, we're asking her to put in an event application, so we're aware of it, we know when
Right,
it's
she's, and it's gonna
occurring.
cost her 75 or 125 depending on when she files it.
Even though we're not using any borough service.
Correct.
I mean, how could
Because-
you know?
because it
it's
still
on-
takes time,
on-
it's still,
It's a
it's not,
perk,
and don't just
Correct.
with the hourly,
Yes.
think
Yeah.
of all of the benefits behind that individual, think of them even being in the building to look at it. So we're breaking even, basically. we're gonna just break
Or-
even with
or-
these,
or
and we've
under.
probably been losing.
Or
we've been
under, I was
losing
gonna
by-
say, or under.
So it's really not when you consider, you can't just consider the person's hourly time, you have to consider every person who touches it, their hourly time. This is like a landed cost
Yeah.
Sure, but
for the government, okay?
Go ahead,
What a
Mr.
landed
Levitt.
cost.
no, I was gonna say, but you know, it's not a question of like, yes, obviously, everything Carla does takes time. But you know, that's why we have taxes, to pay for her time so she can facilitate the borough doing things. Like events, we want events in town. Whether or not, I mean, look, $75, you know, it's not crazy, but I just mean like as a general way of looking at how we do things here and what the purpose of these fees are for. And what we as a borough government want to do and facilitate, if that
And,
makes sense, right? Like we
Let me
want
pop in. after.
services, we want events.
Go ahead.
I just wanna pop in because I'm looking at it not as, so Brian works an event. Or a DPW guy works an event. That's overtime, right?
Yes.
No,
It's not?
no, it's it's private duty rate,
It's, yeah, and their contract,
so.
a fee.
So overtime is paid for, like in the police contract, overtime is for borough sponsored events. So it has to be, you have to be working for the borough.
But not for an event, not like for.
But the DPW, I think it is
Well, then
overtime.
you base their outside duty detail rate off their overtime rate.
Yes,
That's what you did.
Okay.
but we're just talking about processing and the fee to.
So the fire
I mean, where
department.
where do you stand on raising
Police chief.
the permit fees for everybody
Yes.
except
I'm
75
going
and
to.
25?
Yep, so
I don't have a
five
problem raising the
employees,
fees, I'm a
21
little
applicants.
shaky on. With our services, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's justifiable.
So to if they don't need our services to charge that much?
Yeah, if they're gonna use our services, I think
We're being ridiculous.
that's justifiable, I don't know if I can, cause it's just more stuff.
Can
It just seems to be
can
more
we do
stuff.
something here, cause I think
We need
before we go
more
down this road. How about if we call a couple of, actually, one of the things I forgot to mention is I am gonna be going to a conference, Main Street Conference in Philadelphia.
Oh, cool.
And I can ask that question, because I think it's before the next council meeting. And ask that question, it's just gonna fill what people are doing out there in terms of fees for events and a whole bit. Let's get some homework done and some
How about
data.
the time?
I'm sorry?
How if they're all hired, do we, up
But I'm just gonna get, right, I'm just gonna try to get,
it?
you're going to my point. You're validating, but my point of it is, let's get some data, let's find out what people are charging and then come back and have this discussion, because the bottom line is. If you go to Princeton, what are they charging? If you're going to Bridgewater, what are they charging? If you're going to Somerville, Bridgewater, Somerville, what are they charging? If you're going to Bolingbrook, what are they charging? I mean, we kind of need to know what other people are doing.
And I
And
just
then.
wanna,
ask that
you know,
question.
and I've been pondering what Councilman Levitt said. And I think, you know, the taxpayers do pay for Carla's time, but these outside events aren't necessarily our taxpayers.
they're not.
And they're buying into her time.
And believe me, with the
Yeah.
Union Hotel and everything,
No, I
everything,
understand, obviously,
people
you know,
wanna
it-
come in. And
You know,
get their
it's
name out
even
there.
like, you know, okay,
I mean, why should the seven of us up here cover Carla's time to fill out applications and review applications for some outside agency that, you know, wants to have an event in town?
yeah, but I'd ask like, you know, do the people of this town desire events, do they want
Of
events?
course they
in-
do.
in
But we aren't gonna go to every
You
single
know,
event
like-
either. We aren't gonna go to every
Of course we're
single
not.
event either,
Oh,
so
sure, and I
just,
don't-
you know,
I don't use every single service the borough does.
Yes.
Okay, you can hold it, I made some changes there, I'm gonna hold
So
it.
here's my only thing I have to bring back to you folks, 'cause
Okay.
here's the problem we're contending with, right? We're coming into the heavy event season now,
Yes.
we're at the 90-day window.
We need to be able to
I
introduce something.
need,
in
I
this
need to
meeting.
start moving on these applications, so the only, is there a way that we can? Can we do something in the short term? I think we need to do all this, but probably at this point, this is gonna be effective January 1st, 2026. Right, cause where we're at with the applications, I need the process now, so is there a way we can do something with just dealing with the rain date portion? And then we start the escrow, we start everything else effective January 1, 2026. Even if we move on
I
it,
thought you were doing the escrow now.
no, we've never taken, we don't take escrow for anything here.
I thought that when we had our.
No, the language in the
No, no, no,
ordinance
but I
now,
thought
Tony, is
the
I'll
last
read it to
meeting
you.
We had said that we were gonna start.
So
that.
Yeah, but it's gotta be an ordinance. It's gotta be in a minute.
It's, the language, Tony, Tony, so the language,
The language is so
the
complicated.
language in the ordinance now is costs for services, responsible for costs for services, which are billed based on our discussion back here, I think, based on estimates produced by the chief and Campion,
Right, but not till after the event.
but not till
Right.
after the
Yes,
event,
no.
and you gotta chase it.
We tell them what they
So they
owe,
don't have to
Yeah.
chase it.
but
Yeah, and there is a process, and by the way, make this more complicated, I believe that for certain events, it's the old process anyway. These are for big events where the anticipated daily attendance
Correct.
is over 250, so that's important too.
Oh,
Giving
I
separate
thought you
guidance.
said, I thought you were saying
No.
wait till 2026.
No, he's saying
So,
at the rate.
Let me
it's
just
going to
recap.
We move.
We wanna introduce an ordinance to
It's
make
awesome.
these changes on April 14th,
Okay.
okay?
You have, I
So,
made changes tonight to what we've been
yeah,
talking,
so if we do that, then the first week, the second meeting in April, April 28th, it will become the law of the land. In the meantime, is there something we can do, Chris, and I think I know the answer and I don't like the answer. Is there something the council can do now, right this minute? So that Sergeant McNally has the authority to tell everybody there's no rain dates? Or can he just say, if the ordinance is being changed and I'm not gonna, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he could
give you
say
your
it,
date,
yeah.
but not give you your rain date?
you could say it, I mean,
You
you
can
could
do
sit
that,
on it in the
right?
application. and
We
we
say-
can just stay under the direction of the event committee, there's no.
I can bless
I'd be
your
fine with
date,
that
but
just
I can't,
because
okay.
you still have a runway for most of your big events.
Wait, are they gonna, they're not gonna sue us if you don't, if you say.
Well, I mean,
No,
the only,
they-
the only one
Because
that's,
you guys need to run-
the only one that's out there that is gonna be problematic is Salsa Night, which 8/23, her application's been submitted since January 2nd.
Well, you can
But we're
approve
under
a
no-
date, but you just don't approve a rain date.
Correct.
We're under no affirmative obligation at this point to
Because
do
you're
anything, because it's already been submitted. It's in the.
I don't wanna flip flop and change things in the middle of
No,
the year
it's
and
in
then
the
people are like, well, these people got it at the
So what
beginning
you
of the
really
year.
need to hear is this council will support you in this.
It's in the-
I will put it in writing to you.
That's all you
Yes,
need.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Alright, so,
August 20th.
so Brian, do you have enough feedback from the council at this point and enough direction to tweak this ordinance?
I've already tweaked it.
Okay,
I don't think Brian
guys-
will look at it, and he will.
Yeah.
And give me feedback.
so,
Can you send it
so,
to me?
and Councilman Parker is gonna go to this convention and get back some information as to what other municipalities
Do you want
do
me to call some towns?
regarding, we can call, you wanna call some towns? We can call some
Should do
towns.
both. We
To
should do both.
find out what their fees are and if they charge the fees regardless of whether they need public
Can
services
you
or
call
not.
Frenchtown?
Frenchtown has a lot of events.
Lambertville.
Lambertville has a lot of
Somerville.
events. Clinton Town has a lot of events.
Yeah, Thornville has a lot
But
of.
Lambertville, but Frenchtown has like that tight, small main street,
So does Clinton.
and that's all of those.
Just so we're clear, I'm
Yeah.
circulating now a revised copy of the ordinance based on, as I've been doing as we've been
Okay.
going here, right?
But-
I'm going to circulate that.
If
I'm
there
going
were
to-
metrics they
One of the
could
questions
make,
is,
that's what's-
do they charge the same amount of money whether it takes public services or not? You know, I mean, we can set the fee, but
I agree.
It's just not possible to tell without reviewing the application first, right? You can't tell the difference until you've already processed.
Yeah,
the
so
application.
the way it works right now
Right.
is
Yeah.
there's a initial application, right? That they send in, which is reviewed, and then we say, okay, they check off what they want, and then we say, okay, we do a safety security assessment, you're gonna need this many cops. This is a large scale event, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Then if it's a big event, then we send them back an event planning packet, which has the fees on it.
and has been blessed by the state police of New Jersey, which a lot of people don't know.
Right, we go through all those notifications. Now, if it's just a small event, like I'll use Tony over at the Moon Market, she'll send it over, we all say we're good, it's just processed. You know, she could send it on Monday, if Ken, Mike, Jerry and myself all look at it that day, she has her permit that day for her event. Because there's no borough services.
So I'm just gonna go down the line. Councilwoman Engel, are you okay with all this?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about some of the upcoming events though. So,
What do you mean?
things that have,
You mean the timing of it?
yeah,
Even if we get it through in April?
Well, I'm just thinking of, like you said, May, that's really the.
I mean, Memorial Day planning is underway,
Yeah.
I'm already working with the
Yeah,
VFW on that, we're already, and the borough, we don't charge a fee for that event.
We're
Is there
exempt.
any other May event other than Sip and Stroll? Car nights?
There's a Act Two Summer Book Festival, Sip and Stroll, Cinco de Mayo, promotional night, and the Memorial Day parade, and then June.
Require a lot of.
I thought you said salsa night was in there too. so-
Well, salsa night's not until August.
So
August. Oh,
so
okay.
do any of them
All right.
require the big planning?
No, just Memorial Day.
Okay,
Yep.
so
I'm
it would
sorry,
be
I
a
thought you said
$75
salsa.
fee, $125
That
fee.
includes August.
Yeah, I got that and something else mixed up.
Okay.
I apologize.
Councilman Long,
I'm fine with it.
okay, Councilman Long, are you okay proceeding this way?
Yeah, I'm a strong advocate of doing research, so
Yeah.
it sounds like that's what we're gonna do, so
Okay,
yes,
yeah, all right.
yes, absolutely.
Councilman Rice?
Yeah, just what you said, same thing, so, yeah.
Okay, Councilman Levitt,
Yeah, go for it.
Councilwoman, sorry,
Yes, people first.
Council President?
Yep.
Right, so
I'm gonna
I-
send out an email now, the changes that were discussed tonight are gonna be circulated to. 4 of you in the 2 line and the rest of you in the BCC line, and everyone will have it, so when we get here several weeks from now, we can discuss it again.
Okay,
Move
and
on,
by then we'll have information.
sergeants,
Okay.
3 of
And then we
us
can
in
talk
the
about-
C line and 4 of us in the BCC
bang,
line.
bang, bang.
Okay, so those have those.
Yes, I always listen,
Okay,
so.
all right, I got it, I thought you
So,
were talking. council.
everyone will have it, so they can all
All
look.
right,
I got one last thing.
yes,
So
please.
sorry. HPC house tours unaffected by this change. Yet again, right?
Wait, what?
The HPC house tours
House tours.
unaffected.
Ask,
Okay.
Great
Yeah, we don't,
execution.
that's a borough sponsored event. and-
Can't pay
That
ourselves,
needs
you know?
no services.
No, I mean, the CERT team goes out, but they're a volunteer organization, they do all the careful crossings and, they help with DPW and do the
Right.
cone setup.
And DPW does it,
DPW, well, I'll go out, I do the chief and I do the cone, like where we're gonna put them with Kim Tilly, and then DPW deploys extra cones the Friday before, and then.
and the CERT puts them out, so there's
CERT
no
puts them out in the
overtime
morning.
to the DPW or the
Yeah.
police. Excellent.
Correct.
All
And they
right,
pick up trash and all that the next, when they get back in, I guess.
so we're good with this. Very good, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so I need official tabling of the introduction of the 2025 budget until April 11th. And motion to table,
Sorry.
there's the Councilwoman Engelhardt moved, is there a second?
Perfect, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comment session number 2. Oh my gosh, they're so done with sausage, it's not even funny. Here, we go home and make eggs. Nice seeing you. Public comment session number 2. Any member of the public has a hand up, and please come up to the front, and I just need your name and address for the record. And you get 3 minutes.
Beth Herbert, at 45 Broad Street. Actually followed this events conversation with a lot of curiosity, and just wanted to say I appreciate the thoughtfulness of this. I'm very much in support of supporting the police and DPW workers' ability to spend time with their families. And what I'm curious about is for down the road when, you know, we get more and more people wanting to do events in Flemington, is there a way that we can get support without having to always go to our same small groups of providers of those services?
That's a really great question. So I can tell you now that if something is done at the historic courthouse in it, which they're, opening it more and more to the public, and they're planning on having more and more events, or in the court park behind it, that is all covered by the county. It has nothing to do with us. So when they give out their permits, it's all however they do it for buildings and grounds to clean up, or the sheriff's department to police it. It's done by them. So, and like I said, they're trying to make that space more available to the public to use, which is really great with museum exhibits and more things happening in the old courtroom space itself for music. I mean, I know that in May, Rare Music Concerts is gonna be having a concert in the courthouse. They did it last year, they're gonna be doing it again, so so that, we do have that, as things happen in town, hopefully more things will happen there as well. But right now, there isn't, we don't allow outside security, we never really considered, not like we don't allow it, we just never it would be a contract negotiation with the police to say somebody can bring in their own
I mean,
security.
private property, it's been allowed, but like
Private
Lone
property.
Eagle will do their own, but then they ultimately started that direction. They did an event there the 1 year with private security, then they opted the next year to make sure the police are there because it's gives them an added layer of security.
What's the cutoff number for when you recommend, if you're on private property?
250 is the number we use. That's
That if you have for private, so if you
Yeah,
have
for-
250 or more, then you need to have a. some
that's
kind
what we
of
require.
security. Okay, that's it, I'm 250, okay.
Is that one cop? Brian, is that one cop at 250?
It'll depend what the event is. There's a safety security assessment form that based on when the event is, how it's being held, what it's for, what the attendance looks like, will deem how many.
Thank you.
That was a good question, thank you. All right.
Okay, Rob.
Anybody else here in the public? And then we'll go to Robin online.
Okay, you
Hello, Robin. You have 3 minutes.
Robin,
please.
unmute yourself, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm in my car just driving back from Connecticut, and if my dog starts to bark, I'm gonna have to, it'll be a very quick public comment. So all I wanted to say is I think that tone really matters, and Trent, I'm glad to hear you say that people want to have events. We certainly don't want to have events that people don't want us to have, or that create issues for anybody, particularly in the summer with their family. So it's always something we weigh carefully. And the reason we did suggest having multiple rain dates was to talk to DPW and the fire department to see if there was one date that was better for a rain date than another. So we did scrub the idea of going to October. And I think that, and the police told us that the 16th was out. So it looks like the 23rd was out. So I think it's the 9th and the 16th, Brian, and we don't have to discuss it now. But I did want to mention that the reason why we wanted time to think about it was to ask our partners in event planning what worked. The last thing I want to say is this word sanctioned makes me feel bad because I don't want it to sound like we're having an unsanctioned event. I know we're having a not sponsored event where we have to pay all the fees, but I wonder if we could just be a little sensitive to some language that makes it sound like corn, tomato, and beer is wanted and loved, even though it's costly and has some issues with rain dates, etc.
Well,
That's-
The mere Brian misspoke, maybe both of us. It's not, it's sponsored.
sponsored, it's in the ordinance, it says borough sponsored events.
That was
meaning the borough
probably
paying for
or
the
somewhere along the way. Sponsored.
DPW and the police.
Sponsored.
Thank you. I think the tone, I think we're going to find that outsiders are going to want to have, outsiders to the community are going to think it would be good to plan events on Main Street, on Stangl, and that we're going to be very popular, and there's a lot to think about with, we have a tight calendar for events just with the people inside wanting to have events. So I think as we become more popular, we're gonna have a lot more decisions to make. And last, I just wanted to say with the permit fees, we're gonna pay whatever, I'm not inviting you to raise the fee a lot, but it's reasonable to pay fees. I think with an event like the Moon Market that does get a grant from the FCP, as many of our events do, us helping to pay the permit fees is possible. I think the events that take a lot of Maureen and Carla's time are the ones that have food vendors and food permits, because that requires a lot of chasing people for payments and paperwork, and that's where it's really time consuming. That's my comment.
Thank you. I had something I wanted to say, but Robert, I forgot. Okay, anybody else comments? Seeing none, let's see if I can, this one's I lost my page. At the end of comment period number 2. Have the bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $1,101,207.14. Is there a motion?
Move.
Long second.
Okay, roll call please, Carla.
Councilman Arias,
Oh, yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pizarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Long,
Yes.
and Council President Parker.
Yes.
Your second executive session is canceled, and it will be continued at the next meeting, under public safety police facility. I have a motion to adjourn,
Long move.
the second,
Parker second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh.